Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Contra Code. I'm Mike the Rat Guy here with my friend Howard Beware.
Hey there.
And we hope that you have been enjoying the Contra Code. Our every couple week, we're trying to do it every couple weeks. I'd say bi-monthly podcast, retro games. It's a good time. We're talking about old movies. We're talking about old games. We're talking about a lot of fun. And in the process of talking about fun, I guess we always like to start by talking about what we've been up to. So I'll start with you. Have you been doing anything of note these last couple weeks?
Oh, not a whole lot. The school year is winding down, so I'm looking forward to my summer off, hanging out with my kids, doing that sort of thing. Been doing some yard work, getting my yard work put into motion for the summer so I can sit back by the fire pit, have some beers, watch my bird sanctuary, that kind of stuff. So
you have a bird sanctuary?
I do have a bird sanctuary. I have a bird bath and some bird feeders hung up in the back corner of my yard, kitty corner from my little fire pit where I like to sit and drink beer. So it's nice. It's pretty to look at. I've put out food that attracts cardinals and yellow finches and birds like that, blue jays, that kind of thing. So it's kind of fun to watch them come and eat.
That's cool. I actually forgot to mention that we had a cardinal lay some eggs over here on my side of things about a month ago. We had some 3 baby cardinals just left the nest about 4 days ago.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, just outside the window. We were able to watch them grow up, which was exceedingly fast. Once they're born, it takes like 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, and they're ready to go.
Well, that's just it. They're born the size they're going to be pretty much.
More or less.
Yeah, their feathers fill in, and they look a lot bigger after that happens. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never actually watched birds like age and grow before my eyes. It was pretty nifty. And yeah, again, they were cardinals, so that was pleasant.
Did you name them?
No, I should have, though. It was 3. I should have named them after the Three Stooges.
There you go. You could have.
Yeah, I could have, and now it's too late. They've flown away.
You still could, you know.
They won't be able to appreciate it, though. I won't be able to stand in front of their nest and like taunt them with the names. Hey, Larry,
He's like,
you're
my
Larry.
name's Roy.
You know how cardinals are.
Exactly. Oh, surly.
Prove me wrong, people. Fucking asshole birds.
Have you been up to anything of note?
Yeah, a couple things. Oh, my God.
Rumor has it you were in my neck of the woods.
Yeah, what an interesting little scenario that was. Yeah, I made a surprise trip. Actually, for us, it wasn't a surprise. We'd actually been talking about, again, you know, for those who care, I guess, and don't remember, I'm in Illinois, but I grew up just over the border in Kenosha, Wisconsin, about a 4-hour drive from where I'm at now. And I love to make it back to town when I can because, you know, my friends are there. Everything that I like is still there. Where I live now is like there's nowhere, nothing. So we were talking about going down there to see my cousin, who I only was able to see very briefly when I was there at Christmas time at the end of 2014, which is when I was there last. So we made the plan for me to go down there and see him, spend a couple days with him, and in the process, he and I were both going to surprise you. We were going to show up on your front door and basically just say, like, hey, you know, we're in town. And circumstances did not allow that to happen. So I was basically in and out of town without you even knowing it, which was kind of ridiculous, actually.
Which is, you know, turns out that you would have stopped by on Mother's Day, which I would have been preoccupied with my wife.
Yeah.
So, whatever. We'll get you next time.
Yeah, hopefully there will be next time pretty soon. I don't get to go up there nearly as often as I would like to be, but I definitely intend to more recently, or you know, more quickly this time. Not the least of which is to see you, but also to see my cousin. But when I was there last time, I started I don't want to say I got introduced because that's not technically correct, but when I was there in December, I was looking through my cousin's wedding album, and I spotted an attractive girl, and I said, "Who's that?" And it turned out that it was a good friend of my cousin's wife, and she said, "Oh, I'll introduce you sometime, or I'll tell her about you sometime." And long story short, when I was there in town this last time, I said, "Hey, can you still tell that girl about me? You know, I'd like to, you know, meet her. I'd like to, you know, get to talking about her. Give her my email address." And she did, and since that time, we've really been hitting it off. She's a really sweet girl. Her name is Kathy, and I've just been really enjoying talking to her, and I'm curious to see if anything will go anywhere from that. And of course, it's hard to do that when you're living 4 hours away. So the plan is that at some point I'll get back in town and at least meet her.
You know, it's rummage sale season. You can find a pair of roller skates, and you had to have means of transportation to come and visit the girl you've been enamored with over this last week.
Roller skate, and you know, that's an impressive way of meeting somebody. If you put on roller skates and you roller skate 300 miles to meet somebody, and they dare to refuse you, then you know they're not your type.
Yeah, there you go.
It's never going to work. Yeah, if you can't accept your future partner roller skating 300 miles to meet you, there's something wrong with you.
Sure.
So that's been interesting. The Kenosha trip kind of reinvigorated my interest in not being here where I'm at. So that's been on my mind. Well, talking to this girl, that's been on my mind.
You should just come to Kenosha. Why not?
You want to put me up? You've got a spare room. I'll just live in your house.
I can't do that, but
all right, it's done. Well, this is a plan. Yeah, no, it's not for lack of wanting, that's for sure. It's lack of having anywhere to go. That would be the problem. But I want to go back. I definitely want to go back. So, I mean, that's been on my mind. And in the process, the other day, I shouldn't say in the process, but after coming back from Kenosha and kind of cooling off and, getting used to this place again, I decided, well, now I want to get out again. I can't go to Kenosha again, not for a while, but I can surely go to see the, a movie in the theater. Let's see what's playing. And it turns out that Mad Max Fury Road just opened this weekend. Yeah. And I went to see that, and it was everything I could have hoped for and more. It was essentially it's a 2-hour movie, and I would say that if after credits it's 110 minutes, I would say that at least 80 to 90 of those minutes are action. It's just fucking bombastic, balls to the wall, over the top in all the right ways, pure action, and I loved it. I left the movie feeling like a happy little kid. It was great.
So it was a regular feast for the eyes, was it?
It was. It was not a Michael Bay assault on the senses where just loud, angry noise and fucking stupid, twisty, turny camera angles. No, it was the tanker chase at the end of The Road Warrior stretched out to feature length. And it was just a whole fucking hell of a lot of fun.
Ah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get out to the theater and see that.
Yeah. We were talking about the Jurassic Park movie also. You were curious about checking that out when it comes out.
I don't know how to feel about that because obviously
right.
Jurassic Park is fucking awesome and the second Jurassic Park is terrible. And the third Jurassic Park is, I think it kind of caught a bad rap because of how bad the second one was. And the third one's actually not nearly as bad as the second one was. However, it's also not nearly as good as the first one was. But,
no.
I'm excited to go see this Jurassic. It'll be a good popcorn movie, if nothing else, to go see in the theater. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I'd like to see that one as well. I mean, I was a big fan of the first one like you were, like most people were, and also like you, I didn't really care for the second Jurassic Park, but I did think the third one was fun. I did think it was better than its reputation suggests. And it's funny that when I was in town, my cousin actually, somehow we got to talking about Jurassic Park, the trilogy, and he debated pretty strongly that no, the second one's far superior to the third. And I had to tell him he was wrong. It came to blows, and that's why I'm not there anymore. I had to come back home because we got in a fist fight.
Yeah, well.
And a couple stabbings took place. It was pretty dark.
I would have to. Wow, I've never heard anybody champion the second Jurassic Park movie. But
no.
Was he on crack when he watched it?
He's always on crack, so it's hard to tell. Editors note my cousin does not take crack that I'm aware of.
I don't know.
Yeah, couldn't tell you. But yeah, the new Jurassic Park, I'm curious to see that at some point too. So yeah, it's going to be a big movie year, actually. We got Jurassic Park, Mad Max, we have Star Wars, we have the second Avengers movie, which I couldn't care less about, but whatever, that's huge. So I mean, it's just a big year for movies.
Sure, yeah, it's always a big year for movies. From what I find out, from every time we do this show and I go to see what movies I may want to talk about from that year, it seems like every year's been a big year for movies.
This is a really big blockbuster year, though. A lot of really big name franchises are all popping up this year.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman versus, is that even the title of it? Batman versus Superman?
I couldn't tell you.
Whatever, that movie is coming out this year as well, I believe. I don't follow it very closely. I don't follow the, superhero movies very much, but that one's coming out, I think.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I still need to watch Man of Steel because that looked good. I heard mixed things, but it looked decent.
I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big hater. Everybody's pretty worried about Ben Affleck playing Batman, and I think Ben Affleck's going to do just fine as Batman. Everybody was worried about Michael Keaton playing Batman too, and he was fantastic. So,
in my opinion, and it's controversial, but in my opinion, he was actually the best Batman.
I don't know that he was necessarily the best Batman, but he was a good Batman. He was definitely the best Schumacher era Batman.
I guess so. That's
better
than
Val Kilmer. I was excited for Val Kilmer to play Batman because he seemed like an excellent choice, and he stunk it up worse than George Clooney.
Oh, I don't know if I go that far.
I'll go that far. Fucking
no.
Batman. I mean, here's the thing: you expected George Clooney to just be George Clooney. He has the chin for it and everything, and that's for sure. But aside from that, nobody expected George Clooney to be good at Batman. I mean, they just expected him to fucking whatever George Clooney does. But I mean, Val Kilmer's a legitimate actor, and he fucking took a shit trying to play fucking Batman. So.
I don't know. I don't know. That's another thing my cousin and I have debated, the same one. I say that Batman and Robin was the worst of the two. He says no, Batman Forever was the worst. We eventually came to the conclusion, I think I might have been the one to bring up this analogy. We came to the conclusion that if Batman and Robin is the movie that runs you over in the road, Batman Forever is the movie that pushes you off your bike. So basically, Batman Forever first sets up the horror of how bad a Batman movie can be, and then by the second one, my cousin argues he'd already checked out. The second one wasn't offensive to him because he was already done.
Well, I'd have to argue that Batman Forever is definitely better than Batman and Robin for the simple fact that at the end of the day, Jim Carrey was still a pretty fucking good Riddler. So I don't know that he was the best Riddler by any means, but I enjoyed him as the Riddler enough. And so there you go. That's my humble opinion on it.
That's tough to say because, like, I don't want to say that he was bad as the Riddler, but, like, I guess, I don't know, I'm indifferent to him as the Riddler. He seemed like on paper he would have been a good choice, but basically when you see the movie, all he did was jump around and spaz out in spandex. Yeah. So I don't know.
I'd like to see a modern day, Riddler, in the modern day Batman world, the Nolan Batman world.
Yeah, yeah.
Who would you have cast as the Riddler in the modern day?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, because he suggested that he wanted it, was Robin Williams. I've thought about that.
That'd have been cool.
Interesting.
I would honestly, I think Joey Pants.
Oh yeah, you said that before, Joey Pantoliano. Yeah.
Yeah, would make a fantastic fucking Riddler, man. I really do.
Are you basing it on something specific, or just his catalog of films?
Just from seeing him in everything I've seen him in, and then just kind of, putting him into taking the role a little more seriously. I could just see him being a pretty good fucking Riddler in that world, in that setting, in the Nolan setting.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's never gonna happen because he's finished up with Batman. He's moved on, but one of them things.
Yeah, would have been interesting though.
So, do you have any news? Any news here for the up and coming video game or retro video game news?
I was actually going to say no, and I pulled this on you last time. I said that I had no news, but then I forgot that there was something that I'd read. I didn't look into this too deeply, but I just remembered that Nintendo, I guess, is about to relaunch the Nintendo World Championships.
Yeah. That was a news story I was going to bring up. So.
Well, then you go right ahead, because that's all I know about it. I know no details.
You know about it. Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
They announced that it will resurrect the cross-game competition after a 25-year hiatus as part of its week-long event for the E3 2015.
Okay.
They hadn't really revealed much about the final format of what the games will be included in the championship, but it's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited for that. Not so no one participating or anything, but
right. Same here. Maybe back in the day.
Yeah, it's confirmed that it'll stream its third annual digital event on June 16th at 9 a.m. So,
will that include the championships? Is that when it takes place?
It seems like it should. I don't know why they wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be interesting to see. I would at least be curious to see what games they pick. I would assume Smash Brothers would be part of it somewhere.
Yeah, you'd have to think. Yeah, probably a lot of it. Probably maybe that Nintendo Remix game or something like that.
Oh, that might be. Yeah, that would actually be a good one.
Sure. But,
I don't remember. Do you have that? Do you own that? You do, right?
I do, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I enjoy it quite a bit. It's a fun little ADD fucking, I've always enjoyed games like WarioWare and things like that are little short attention span games that you can just kind of blast through, and they're fun. So yeah,
what I played of WarioWare I enjoyed.
Yeah,
okay. Well, that's interesting.
Another thing that's coming out is the Pitendo.
The what?
The Pitendo.
The Pitendo?
The Pitendo, yeah. There's many ways to enjoy classic 8 and 16-bit games from the past, whether it be emulators or just, dusting off the old Super Nintendo or something. And basically, this company has made a tiny little casing. It's like a cute little Nintendo casing, and it says Pitendo where it would say Nintendo across it. And you can either buy that casing for yourself and load it yourself. Otherwise, you can use the Raspberry Pi. Are you familiar with that technology, the Raspberry Pi?
Oh my God! It's technology coming up with fucking names for everything. No, I don't. The last berry I heard was BlackBerry, so I'm out of the loop.
It's basically a really small, condensed computer that can, that people use for playing like emulators and pocket gaming and stuff like that. Yeah. So basically, they took this little casing, they crammed that technology inside of it, and you can fit like 30-something emulators into it, and it's got little USB jacks, so you can pop controllers on it and stuff. So it's kind of cool.
So it's like a standalone, dedicated little tiny gaming device. Okay,
exactly. You can kind of take this little emulator anywhere you go, pop it onto a TV, and play your video, emulators against your friends and whatnot. So it's pretty fucking cool.
That actually is cool. I obviously, having just now heard of it for the first time, I have no idea how that would actually work, like what kind of architecture it has, like what kind of systems it can emulate, but conceptually, I'm with the idea.
Exactly. You can load the tiny console with multiple emulators and stuff, and it's easy enough to throw your games and, throw it in your pocket, take it with you. You can put hundreds of titles on it and stuff, and just, at your fingertips, everywhere you go, you can throw it in, and you can buy the enclosure for $50, and it fits the Raspberry B Plus. You're not familiar with it, but it's a little gaming thing that would fit right inside the emulator. Or you can buy the ultimate package for like $119, and it has, everything. It's got it comes fitted with the software and the RAM and all that stuff, the memory. So.
Is that model called the Blueberry Cheesecake?
It is not. It is not.
Oh,
I'm not sure why it's called Raspberry. Who knows? Somebody who called it that. Whoever.
Just some asshole being an asshole, but he made something that sounds cool.
It's because he's obviously an asshole.
Yeah, I can't think of any other reason why somebody would name their device, their electronic device, Raspberry.
I wonder if there's a
fucking
reason
asshole
behind it, honestly.
I'm sure there's not, because he's a jerk.
I'm not curious enough to check, but...
But you folks listening out there, you should, and write to us with the answer. No, it does actually sound cool. That reminds me of those. You've probably seen those, although I haven't seen them in a while. They're like Pac-Man in a controller. They're just like a controller that has Pac-Man. Yeah, and you just stick it to your TV.
Actually, yeah, those are cool. And speaking of Pac-Man, remember those little tiny like Pac-Man and Donkey Kong tiny tabletop arcade machines you could buy?
Yes, I do. Yes, they were in Gremlins. Yes.
Yeah, I saw the Pac-Man one at a rummage sale last week.
Oh, you didn't pick it up?
It was looking pretty rough, and I wasn't sure if it worked, and the person there was kind of, I could tell, they didn't know shit about it, it was, their kids from whenever ago, and it was, I don't know.
But you might have been able to get a good deal on it, then. Possibly.
I guess I just, it
was there semen on it?
It could have been. It was suspect stains, that's for sure.
Oh, man. I don't know. I might have to take them up on that.
I'm not even sure if they're worth any money or what, probably, but who knows. I passed. It looked rough enough that I passed. And typically that'd be something I'd buy, so. I
would have thought so, yeah. Well, understandable.
Sure.
There's graffiti on the side that had racial epithets and all kinds of, the screen was missing, yeah.
Well, yeah, so.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Interesting, though. Yeah. They actually have a yard sale going on down here, a citywide yard sale, which probably, that sounds cool, but to me, that's just indicative of how small the city I'm in is.
That's kind of where I saw that thing last week in Whitecaps, which is a subdivision out, in Kenosha. We have little subdivisions here and there, and they were having a subdivision-wide rummage sale, so that's where I saw that at. And I kind of like that, because then you can kind of hit a bunch of rummage sales all at once. You can park your car once. You don't have to go driving around town. So.
Yeah, even that sounds so much cooler. For us, it's like houses divided by fields, and that house has stuff, and so does that house. It's not I don't even know if we have subdivisions. We have craft.
Sure. I ended up picking up a copy of Nothing But Trouble and The Watchmen. So.
Nothing But Trouble, is that with Dan Aykroyd and Dom DeLuise or something?
Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, John Candy.
Okay.
Demi Moore, yeah.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Actually, on a previous podcast that I'd listened to, I can't remember which one, the hosts of that podcast talked about how much that movie had horrified them as a kid. I've never seen it. Yeah, seriously, they mentioned specifically. Yeah, he was one of the examples they gave, so I looked him up, and he looked kind of like the Crypt Keeper, so I thought that was pretty nifty.
It's a fun movie. I don't know, I enjoy it.
Okay, that's cool.
For the $1 I spent on the DVD, it was hard to pass up.
Yeah, I don't know if I've really seen that floating around on DVD. Granted, I've never looked, but I don't see that movie a lot, so hey, it could be kind of an uncommon find.
Yeah, I was glad to find it.
Fair enough. When I was in Kenosha, I picked up Argo for $4, so I couldn't turn that down.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, good DVD deals all around. I'm sorry, what was that?
So where'd you pick that up at?
That was at the place down by the Roger and Marv's, in between Roger and Marv's and like the Southwest Library. It's like across from the library down there. It's been there for years, but I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, okay.
It's like right next to a Walgreens. You've probably seen it. It's like right next to a Walgreens
like
and a Subway.
Warehouse or whatever.
I was wanting to call it that. Okay, that is what it is. Yeah.
Exactly. I think they've like lengthened the name to like CD/DVD/ yada 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 /
That's so redundant.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of always hated that place.
Why?
Because I find them to be overpriced for what they are.
Understandably. Yeah, I mean, the Argo disc was a very good deal, but I can't speak for anything else because that's the only thing I bought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I kind of got into it with the lady who ran the joint.
Over her prices?
Well, I listened to a lot of punk rock music, and there was this band that had a punk rock CD that was still available in stores, mind you. It's not like it was like a really old CD by any means. And clearly the band wanted this to be priced at $4.99 or $5.99 because they had that printed onto the actual cover of the CD, and she had it listed for like $9.99.
You know, I got to give it to you. At some point, you have to say something about that.
I was like, you do realize that this should be for $5, and she was just like, well, that's a rare import and blah blah blah. I was like, no, it's actually not. Very rare. It is important. I mean, it was a British band, but it's not rare by any means. And you could go buy a brand new copy at like Grand Central for $5.99 or whatever they were charging for it. And it was just kind of like, shoot, I don't know.
Lady, if the stoners at Grand Central aren't going to overcharge you, you have no excuse.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And that's not the only. I mean, I don't know. They don't. I never done.
It gets deeper.
Yeah, I don't know. Never a fan of that place. However, I did find a cool trauma box that they had there one day, and I didn't buy it because I didn't want to give them my money because I hate that cunt. However, I still go in there and look around. So whatever.
Presumably, for the record, we'll just assume that cunt is no longer there.
I think she was the owner. She probably is still there.
Oh man. Well, anyway, my vote is you should go to CD Warehouse just to balance out the equation. buy $4 copies of Argo. Accordingly, they have a lot of them. So there you are.
There we are. Well, if you tuned in last time, you'll know that the game we were going to play this week was Bonk's Adventure.
Yeah, Bonk's Adventure, the first Turbografx game that we've played on our podcast. Probably one of not a whole lot. We're probably not going to be doing a whole lot of games for that system.
Well,
I'm anticipating.
A fan favorite system. Everybody had one, so nobody really.
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah. They beat Nintendo in the market for like 10 straight years. It was incredible.
And Bonk's Adventure was released in 1990, so typically we talk about a few things from 1990. Anything going on in 1990 that you're aware of? Anything that
Yeah, actually, I remember a couple things. I should say I remember one thing in particular. I'm sure I remember many things. One thing stands out. It was Mike Tyson's loss to Buster Douglas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is still to this day often, not unanimously, but often considered the biggest upset in boxing, if not sports history. Mike Tyson, for those who only know him, is like the maniac, like just off his rocker psychopath that he became in the late 90s and early 2000s. He was actually a really, really good boxer back in the day.
I will go on record and say he was in his prime, best fucking boxer of all time.
I wouldn't dispute that at all. I think, I mean, he has drawn many comparisons to Muhammad Ali, not because their styles are anywhere near identical, because they're not.
Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope, Mike Tyson knocked you the fuck out within round.
There you go. That's right. When you took on Mike Tyson, there's a 9 time out of 10 chance that you're just going to die. You're just going to lay dead in like the first round, and he'll win.
Children.
Yeah, he'll eat the children of Lennox Lewis that Lennox Lewis never even had. Yes. See, now we're getting into the more crazy Mike Tyson. I swear to God, he was like, "Oh, I'm going to eat his children. I'm so angry." And Lennox Lewis's response was just like, "I don't have any children." Yes. Before the meltdown, before Mike Tyson turned into a maniac, he was he was literally the undisputed champion. He had every fucking belt. He was obviously the heavyweight champion. He knocked people out left and right.
The famous Michael Spinks Mike Tyson fight.
Oh, I wonder if Michael Spinks was the one where he broke his nose. I mean, that's not like a huge thing in boxing, but
that lasted like 30-something seconds.
Which one? You say that as if that was like the only one.
That was supposed to be like the big thing. Everybody was like, "Oh, this is going to be the first time Mike Tyson has any real competition." Yada yada yada.
You're right.
I mean, people paid thousands and thousands of dollars for their front row seats and this and that. And basically, while people were still like up grabbing beer and things like that, Mike Tyson got the fuck out already.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
That might have been. He's had so many fights and they've all gone so quickly that I can't really remember them specifically. But that might have been the one where after I think after he hit Spinks just like bounced all over the ring, just like whirlwinds, just like pinballed all over the place because he was just out on his feet. Yeah. I think that was Spinks. Yeah, it was a quick knockdown, or a knockout, like most of his fights were. And he'd had the title at this point by I think 3 years, maybe 2 years thereabouts. Mike had been champion for a while, and at the beginning of 1990, he was going to fight Buster Douglas, the number one contender in Tokyo, Japan. And the odds were something like 50-1, 40-1, something like that against Buster because Mike Tyson had just killed everybody that he'd gone up against. But a number of circumstances just really collided. Mike Tyson apparently didn't really take Buster Douglas very seriously. He didn't train very well.
I call that a cop-out.
No. There's more to it, though. Not only that, but he had just suffered, I shouldn't say just, but it was not too long before that he had suffered the loss of his trainer and mentor, Cus D'Amato, and he was being pulled between two other promoters, one of which was Don King, who, no one's really a fan of because he's kind of a sleazy, well, I don't want to. Yeah, he's a monster. Yeah. So, I mean, Mike Tyson was, kind of becoming a thug. He was being trained, subtly and slowly kind of to go for the knockout, to rely on the knockout instead of fighting quickly. I'm sorry, instead of fighting, what did I say quickly? Instead of fighting, precisely, using, skill and tact, he actually, kind of started buying his own hype at this point. And, again, we can't get into his head. We don't know exactly what the reasons were, but basically, in other words, there was a lot of strife going on with Mike Tyson's life, a lot of upheaval. Robin Gibbons, I think the divorce was going on at that time. There's just a lot of shit going on. Meanwhile, Buster Douglas, on the other hand, he was apparently by all accounts training like a maniac. He had discipline. He studied, all kinds of, Tyson fights. His mom had died just a few weeks before the fight and he dedicated the fight to her. I mean, he was ready. And, on top of that, he had like a foot long reach advantage, which is definitely going to help. And, really basically the whole fight ended with, Buster Douglas just dominated. He kept Tyson on the outside. Tyson, especially at that point in his career, was an inside fighter. He liked to go for the uppercut, liked to go for the quick knockout. Douglas he wasn't intimidated. He just stayed on the outside, just jab, boxed Tyson around and just finally wore him down. And, I think it was the 11th round or thereabouts when he fucking just knocked Tyson down. Not out, but he knocked him down for the first time in his career and he failed to get up. He failed to meet the 10 count and that was it.
Yeah.
It was huge. That was a big fucking moment in sports. I mean, because
so big because obviously you've heard of Mike Tyson's Punch Out for Nintendo, but
sure,
so big of an upset that they decided Sega jumped out and gave him maybe the shittiest fucking video game ever made. Buster Douglas boxing.
They did. That was hilarious. Yeah, Mike Tyson had been signed by Nintendo before he won the title, just before. So Nintendo had a coup by signing Mike Tyson when they did. Buster Douglas, on the other hand, Sega, as you said, Sega was like, well, holy shit, he's the champion now. Get him, sign him. And so they did. And yeah, they made the Buster Douglas, I think it was just Buster Douglas heavyweight boxing or something like that. It was what it was. It wasn't a good game.
No.
Oh, man. So that was big news at the beginning of 1990. Yeah.
Yep. Well, 1990, that was the year people were getting down to Ice Ice Baby.
Some people were, other people had sense.
Yeah. I did not stop, collaborate, or listen.
You refused the instructions. You weren't doing it right. Actually, I would argue you were the one person who was doing it right.
Exactly.
That song...
Never was I a big fan of all the trendy songs or trendy music. I may have liked music through my life that was trendy or popular at one point or another, but never because it was trendy. I was never one of those guys. I always listened to rock and metal and punk rock and stuff like that my whole life. And don't get me wrong, I listen to all kinds of music. But I mean, I just have always kind of marched to the beat of my own drum when it came to that stuff. Yeah.
You always did. I can vouch for that. There was some music that I liked that was new at the time. MC Hammer, actually, he's like a joke now, but I thought his stuff was good. I actually really did. I liked his music back in 1990.
I did not. But,
no, I dug it. You never, you didn't find Hammer too legit to quit?
I am thoroughly amused by his Addams Family song. What I want to say, do what I want to do, blah, 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 blah. Addams Family. It's fucking terrible, but it's hilarious.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. Oh my God.
Before do what I want to do.
That is, honestly, that is pretty much the song. That's not even an exaggeration for anybody who hasn't heard it. My God, don't start now. Ice Ice Baby illegally sampled Under Pressure, which might be my favorite Queen song. So that's another kind of why did you do that? You're a jerk. You shouldn't be kind of moment.
I don't believe that's a Queen song.
Actually, you're right. I'm sorry. Technically, it's a song by David Bowie and fucking Freddie Mercury, but not Queen specifically. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah. I just associated it as Queen. I mean, I knew that, but you're entirely correct. Yeah, that was my quote bad.
No, it's yeah. McDonald's opened its first store in Moscow, where they quickly,
I kind of remember that.
Where they quickly found out nobody had money. So.
Did they? Do you know? Did whatever you found out? Did they say that they remained open?
Just a cheap shot at how.
No, that's true though. They were not doing too well over there at that point in time.
They were not. They were not at all. Yeah. Very, very seldom McDonald's. Typically, if I'm eating fast food, it's the breakfast menu of some sort, because it's easier to do that type of food fast and have it not taste like complete shit. So
that helps. See, I've eaten McDonald's and fast food all my life, but my diet is so picky. I have such a very limited amount of things that I eat. For me, I eat French fries like at any time, any point of the day. I'll eat French fries. And McDonald's always used to be really good. They've gotten, I guess it depends on the McDonald's that you go to, but sometimes they make their fries taste like paper.
Well, another thing that's the reason that is because they're stupid.
They don't change the oil.
They're trying. McDonald's used to fry their fries in like fat.
Oh, beef tallow, right?
Yeah, and lard, and they were awesome. And
lard.
Well, they started pandering to people who don't eat there. People were like health food nuts are like, well, I don't eat at McDonald's because of this and because of that and because of this, and that's terrible and this is bad for you and it's horrible for you. So McDonald's started like pandering to all that. And well, dude, those people still don't eat there. It's like,
and everyone else is pissed off.
Exactly. Everybody else is like, well, now your food sucks.
Oh, I hate that. That's the Morgan Spurlock syndrome.
Yeah.
That fucker decided, I swear to fucking God, man. He's like, he decided that McDonald's makes you fat. It makes you unhealthy. No fucking shit, man. If that's all you eat for 2 fucking straight months, of course you're going to get sick. So he did that, and in response, McDonald's.
His numbers, too.
Yeah, I've heard so many things about that guy. So many different. His reporting was complete. Yeah.
The thing about documentaries, folks, is they only tell the story the documentor wants to tell. They give you all the information they feel like including. They omit all the information they feel like omitting, and they just kind of tell a one-sided story. Depending, it's just always watch a fucking documentary with a grain of salt, because you gotta, it's easy to watch something and have it tear at your heartstrings and just be like, holy shit, that's terrible, that's awful. But you know what? You're getting a very one-sided picture when you watch a documentary.
Talking about this, I don't want to get too deep into this because it'll devolve into politics, but I just read tonight that Wisconsin, they just passed a vote. I don't know if it was the Senate or the House. I don't know. They passed some kind of vote that basically says that a certain portion of food stamps must go to certain foods such as meat, poultry, and so forth.
Yeah, basically that you're not allowed to buy ketchup, shellfish, and I forget what else. Like they're basically saying pork.
As far as I know, junk food. I heard junk food. Like they're trying to make it to where you can't get junk food anymore because that's not healthy. And the whole point of food stamps is to make you healthy, not to fucking keep you alive, but to make you healthy.
Well, that's just it. They don't, and to a point I can see, because it's like I work really hard for a living and I can't always afford to run out and buy steak dinner. But then I see the dude in front of me in line buying like steak dinner with his food stamps, and you're just kind of like, really?
But see, now because of the Wisconsin governature, now you're going to feel even more inclined to punch that guy, and that's so unfair.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking ridiculous. I don't know. Whatever. Just food. The whole America's like relatively modern obsession with telling other people what they should eat honestly just makes me sick. It's just fucking mind your fucking business.
Pretty much. I agree with that.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Nice and happy.
1990, the 49ers beat the Denver Broncos in Super Bowl 24. America was watching America's Funniest Home Videos.
We were there for a little while, weren't we?
Hosted by Bob Saget, which at the time, if I could have watched anybody die a horrible fiery death and just laughed, it would have been Bob Saget for his corny jokes on that stupid show. And
it makes me wonder if he wrote them or if they were written for him.
Oh, they were written for him because...
You think so? Well, we have seen him do stuff outside of that show.
Yeah, because I finally saw him actually do a stand-up routine, and he
wasn't bad.
He is the most filthy, foul-mouthed motherfucker on the planet, really.
Very quick-witted, too. He had a really strong, like, coke-addled pace.
Yeah, he was. He was very... Yeah.
Man, I wonder if that was the time that America's Funniest Home Videos followed or preceded, perhaps, America's Funniest People. Do you remember that show with Dave Coulier?
Oh, yeah, because he's one of America's funniest people.
Somewhere this was decided for us.
Yeah,
oh, God.
Terrible, man, yeah.
That's right. Good times in American TV.
Of which, Dave Coulier and Bob Saget, I hear that Netflix is signing a bunch of people back for a Full House reboot.
Which people have been begging for years, I'm sure. Facetiousness aside, actually, there are probably a lot of people who do want to see that. I can't count myself among them, so whatever.
Not at all.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out. We'll be talking about that in a few episodes. Say, man, have you heard that this is like dominating the ratings? It's like better critically received than Game of Thrones. This is incredible.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, the Space Shuttle Discovery was launched, and it placed the Hubble telescope into orbit.
That was 1990. Okay.
Yeah, and thank God for that shit, man, because the Hubble telescope is fucking amazing.
Pretty advanced telescope.
Oh, yeah. Fucking A. All those beautiful pictures of space you see, thank the fucking Hubble telescope for that. And,
right.
Just, just discovering billions of galaxies. It's just, fucking cool shit. I love astronomy and shit like that, so I'm a big fan of the Hubble telescope, and 1990 is the year when, and it's sad, it wasn't 1990 it started getting all these awesome pictures. It actually went up there and broke really quick, and it was pretty useless for a while. And they had to
I didn't remember hearing about that.
They had to send some people out there to fix it and get it up and running, and it now that it is, fucking A, man, that thing's awesome. I'd love for them to send a new telescope out there with even more modern, high-def, awesome technology, because that'd be fantastic. Oh. Emma Watson was born in 1990.
Well, that kind of puts things into perspective.
Yeah. Of Harry Potter fame.
Right.
Yeah. Jim Henson died.
His last movie was probably Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, probably, that he's worked on, actually. He physically worked on. Yeah, died of pneumonia.
Yes, he did. Yeah, it was kind of a random, like, silly, I don't mean silly as to say that, people who die of pneumonia are silly, but it's such a what a lame thing to have to take you down,
Well, what Bummer. It is, and that's, I could have died of pneumonia. A lot of people do.
Right, right.
You just, dude, you work, and I don't know how you are, but I got one of those work ethics where you go to work sick.
I just hide in the bathroom all day, so no.
If I'm not throwing up, and I don't have diarrhea, those are pretty much the only two things that keep me home. I go to work sick. I always have. It's one of those things. It's just, and that's just it. When sickness like that develops into pneumonia, and you get like what's called walking pneumonia, where you don't feel as sick as you really are, but both your lungs are slowly filling up with fluids, and then all of a sudden you're just fucked. And one day you're fine, and the next day you're bedridden, and thankfully if you can get taken care of. But he fell victim to that, and it sucks. So
yeah, creator of the Muppets, of course, among many other, Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, a lot of movies use his puppeteering.
Oh yeah, and still to this day. I mean,
that's true.
His innovations are a lot of practical effects and things like that. I mean, Yoda's a fucking Muppet,
That's true.
Yep.
Bunch of fucking Muppets.
Stevie Ray Vaughan crashed and died a fiery death.
That was 1992. Wow.
Yeah.
Looking back on the dates of some of this stuff, I don't remember it being when it was. I thought that was a lot later.
No, 1990, yeah. Speaking
good
of
blues guitarist.
Another good blues guitarist just passed away. B.B. King just passed away.
I just saw that, about 4 or 5 days ago, I think, yeah.
Oh, I think it was like 2 days ago, yeah.
Was it that recently? Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking recent. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so rest in peace, B.B. King. Fucking amazing. His guitar, Lucille.
That's right.
Yeah, so there you go, 1990. What movies were you watching in 1990?
Oh, well, I actually went some stuff that was playing in 1990, and not to counter what you said earlier, but I actually kind of had trouble finding a lot of good stuff.
Oh, wow. I thought there was plenty of good movies in 1990. I had a rough time choosing my movie this week.
Well, to be fair, there were a few really good ones that stood out. Like, the quality of the ones that I liked in 1990, was really high, but I didn't find a whole lot of movies from that year. Like the list of actual titles that I thought of mentioning on the show was actually a little bit shorter than I thought it would have been.
I had quite a few movies I enjoyed.
Well, one of them that I enjoyed, went to the theater specifically to see this. Man, as did any self-respecting boy at the age of, I would have been about 12 at that time.
Yeah, 11, 12, yeah.
Yeah, thereabouts. I went to the local theater, Market Square, with my friend Justin to see this movie, and we went with something like, I don't know, $20 in our pockets, prepared to spend the whole day, watching the movie and then going outside, having fun, talking about how awesome the movie was and blah, blah, blah. We got to the theater, and we were surprised to see that the line, stretched across, the length of the entire fucking building. We were, totally dismayed, and we thought, oh, okay. At the last minute, just before we walked away, a friend of ours, a little bit more my friend than his, but he knew both of us, a kid named Matt, who I've mentioned on a previous episode, he was in 15th place in the line or whatever. He was up there pretty close, and he beckoned us to cut in. And I don't know what this says about Justin or myself. Justin was all for it. I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that, man. I mean, look at there's 300 people behind us. I can't do it. That's just lame. And so we didn't wind up watching the movie that day. We went and played the arcade game version of it right next to it at Aladdin's Castle Arcade. And when Matt came out of the theater and said how awesome the movie was, we were like, man, maybe we should have gone and seen it. We eventually did and loved it. That movie was, of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, yep, I saw that movie as well at good old Market Square Theater.
You saw it at Market too, huh?
Huge line there. I went and saw that movie with my buddy Nick, and they had actually a big sale going on, like a bazaar, I think my mom always called them, where they would just have different booths people would set up, and they would sell arts and crafts and things like that. But they always had the stragglers who sold sports cards and comic books and things like that as well. So
heroin needles, gold watches,
exactly.
Want to buy a Rolex?
What you want, man? What you got?
Yeah, what you want, man? I got it all. Come on, man. You want some speed? You want some PCP? I got it all, man.
I did find a person selling Ninja Turtle trading cards, so I bought a few packs of those. We went and saw Ninja Turtles. It was fucking awesome.
Yes.
Being a Ninja Turtles fan, it met and exceeded every expectation I had for a Ninja Turtles film. It was very cool because it was very close, not identical, but closer to the comic books than the cartoon, which was fantastic.
Yeah. It was modeled after the original Mirage comics of the mid-'80s, for sure.
Yeah. And, I mean, just, obviously, as a kid that age, I was introduced to the Ninja Turtles via the cartoon, which I loved and still love to this day. However, being a fan of comic books, I very quickly discovered the Eastman and Lard's, Mirage comic book series and became a fan of those as well.
Yeah, pretty much the same story for me. The cartoon just kind of came out. The action figures came out not too long after that, and they had some awesome action figures, tons of different monsters and beasts and variants. And the movie, as you said, it just like with me, it completely exceeded my expectations. It was actually I expected it to be, and I was already waiting for it to be just awesome. And it was honestly, Roger Ebert said, and I paraphrase from memory, he said, it's about as good a turtle movie as could possibly have been made. And I don't think he was being facetious about that. He gave it a relatively positive review, something like 2.5 out of 4 stars. So he basically said what I had been thinking, which is that, if somebody sat down to make a movie about the Ninja Turtles, a concept that's absurd on its face, this is a really good version of it. This is about the best that I think could have been hoped for. Oh, and to this day, I still feel that way. I mean, they've made 4 or 5 fucking Ninja Turtle movies since, including the sequels to the one that we're referring to, which were, in increasingly declining quality. But, I don't know, kids to Nickelodeon cartoon, the really shitty Michael Bay, I guess he didn't direct it, I don't know who did, whatever, we're calling it the Michael Bay version. That came out last summer. Kids today just don't know Ninja Turtles like we did, which isn't to say that, whatever, they can't still enjoy it, but the original Ninja Turtle movie, to this day, I think, is just a legitimately good movie. Yeah.
I prefer to refer to it as the Michael Bay debacle, and I don't know that I will ever see that movie. I might just avoid it altogether. The original Ninja Turtles movie is fucking fantastic. I fucking love it. I'll watch it anytime.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very good.
Yep.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Very good representation of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, because it takes the concept seriously. It takes itself seriously. It has performances that are, again, relatively speaking, believable. It's like a really, it was gritty before gritty was a thing. It was an independent movie. I don't know. I can't say enough about it. It was just really good. I don't need to explain what the Turtles are. Everybody knows. So just go watch it if you haven't already.
All right. Well, my movie from 1990 that I enjoy very, very, very much is much darker psychological horror film.
I hope you didn't take one of the ones that I was going to say for a later 1990 episode, but I'm starting to think you did.
I imagine you probably did. It's about a young man who went to the Vietnam War.
Damn it.
Ended up with a bunch of post-traumatic war syndrome things happening. Jacob's Ladder.
Jacob's Ladder is easily, in my opinion, one of the funniest, legitimately frightening horror movies ever made.
Yeah, it's fuck. It's just, it's a guy who was in the Vietnam War. He, basically him and his platoon, got into a skirmish, and after being home, it's a guy who, he's having like.
Well,
he works for the post office. He starts having some post-traumatic stress. He starts hallucinating. He has these different hallucinations, things happening to him. He talks to a few other people in his platoon, realizes they've been having some hallucinations. They go to see an attorney about it, and basically the attorney says, I think you have a case, but then very quickly backs out of it and says, you guys weren't even in the Vietnam War, blah, blah, blah. And, a couple of the people in the, die a sudden death, basically murdered and that kind of thing. And, you just gotta see it. It's a fantastic fucking movie. It's a mind trip, really.
Well, I mean, that's just it. I mean, basically, you, the viewer, you don't know a lot of this at the start of the movie. You're just seeing this guy, just an ordinary guy, played by Tim Robbins, very, very convincingly. He's just an average, quiet guy, and he's just seeing fucked up shit. He's seeing what appears to be like weird, trippy ass, like monsters and demons and shit, just like in broad daylight. He'll just be walking around and suddenly like a thing will appear in front of him, and it's like, what the fuck was that? He doesn't know what's going on. Again, he thinks that it might be PTSD. He's lost a son recently. He's fucked up about that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so he's just, what the hell is going on? And until the end of the movie, you yourself, the viewer, you don't know either. So it's as you said, it's a mindfuck. It's a really, really good, sharp, serious-minded thriller, directed by Adrian Lyne, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
He also did Fatal Attraction, which in my opinion was a good movie. So, I mean, it was good stuff. Jacob's Ladder was, I contemplated using that movie today, but you stole it from me.
I contemplated using Ninja Turtles, but I figured it was too obvious.
It's never too obvious for Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles all the time, always number one.
Sure. Well, there you have it, folks. Run out, watch Jacob's Ladder, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So
what an odd night that would be.
Yeah, that's
what a twofer.
There you go.
Good stuff.
And there you have it. That brings us to Bonk's Adventure for the Turbografx 16.
You said you did play Bonk when you were a little kid, right?
I played it.
Friend's house named Pat.
Yeah. Basically, long story short, as you know, we facetiously joked, being hyperbolic earlier, that everyone had a Turbografx 16 and it outperformed Nintendo for decades.
The truth is that no one did because no one cared because Turbografx.
It was very expensive. It was very cutting edge and new. It was not
sort of.
It was not as available. It was at least that's.
I wouldn't. It was new, but I wouldn't say cutting edge.
That was my perception of it at the time.
I see.
It was 16 bits of graphic, which
supposedly
a lie.
It had two 8-bit processors, right?
That, if you did some fuzzy math, equaled 16 bits. So basically, it was two Nintendos crammed into one system for some reason. It was silly, but again, this is my perception, and I mean, admit it. Your perception as a kid was this was the next big, huge, cutting-edge 16-bit system.
It was exotic, and it was the first 16-bit system. It did beat the market. It beat, the Super Nintendo. So yeah, to be fair, it was probably more exciting than I'm making it sound.
Yeah, and I mean, it was exotic. It wasn't in every store. It was hard to find. It was very expensive. So, I had a friend who had the system, and the friend lent he had a very brand new system actually, and he lent it to my other buddy who was my neighbor, and I went up the street and we played the Turbografx 16, and we ran out and rented Bonk's Adventure. And I did not play it very much. I played it a little bit as a kid, and I remember we had to be hush hush because when his buddy came to pick his system up, he had been eagerly anticipating, either buying or renting Bonk's, and he asked, "Hey, did you guys rent Bonk's?" And we pretended as if we didn't, so that he didn't feel bummed out that we got to play Bonk on his brand new Turbografx system before he had an opportunity to do so.
That interests me. See, as a kid, it would have been, I think, difficult to maintain that level of self-control. So it's admirable that you were able to do that for his sake.
Yeah, well, it's just, whatever. It wasn't a big deal. It was, and again, it's not like I had a whole lot of time to play it. There was probably, 3 or 4 of us sitting there, and we all took our turns, and definitely my buddy was a few years older than all of us there, so he obviously had the lion's share of the time playing Bonk's Adventure. And so you
didn't really get to play it a lot then. You didn't have a whole lot of experience.
Obviously Bonk was the Turbografx 16's Mario or Sonic for say, who is their flagship. They're the person they were trying to make the face of the company, their little flagship game title, and it was alluring and intriguing and neat, and obviously the game everybody wanted to play at the time. So now I've got a big, meaty, healthy dose of playing Bonk's Adventure. I finally scratched that Bonk's Adventure itch, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Oh, I did want to mention one thing I forgot to mention earlier. We were talking about things of the 1990s. The Cool Cans. Pepsi released their Cool Cans. I forgot to mention that.
That they did. That is worth mentioning. Yeah, I'm a Pepsi fan, and those cans were actually pretty nifty.
They basically have they slowly staggered a release of 4 different styles of cans that were quote unquote cool, as opposed to just having their typical Pepsi logo. One had like a surfer, one had like a chick with Pepsi sunglasses, one just kind of had like some party confetti in different colors, and one had like neon.
That was the black logo. Can. That was the cool one.
See, to me, the party confetti can was I think it's just because it's the last one I found. So for some reason, in my mind's eye as a kid, that was the rare, coveted, and hard to find one. So
you son of a bitch. No, you got that wrong, man. The black can. It was the black can all the way.
Yeah. They were all pretty neat for what they were.
We had those debates, though. That was what made the 90s awesome. We cared about what the color of a can, which one's the coolest can.
The 90s weren't awesome.
It's all lies.
Well, that's a lie. A lot of the 90s were very awesome. So, but, all right, Bonk's Adventure.
I'd actually rather talk about Pepsi.
To be honest with you, me too. What are your initial thoughts of Bonk's Adventure?
Well, the first thing I don't really have a whole lot to say about it, but I guess the first thing I would be the cover of the game. It's metaphorically, it's almost kind of like Bonk is making a statement. You've got like a brick wall or something, but I shouldn't say brick. It's like a cave wall or some kind of like primitive, stone of some kind, and Bonk is kind of like bashing his way through it.
Yeah.
I would describe the look as determined or angry. I think you said, what did you say? Dopey? He's dopey looking?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm Bonk.
As a kid, that looked at me, I gotta play that. And, looking at it now, it's just stupid. Why is the O bigger in Bonk than in the logo? In the logo,
maybe it should have
Bonk, but it's like the O is larger for some reason.
Maybe that's in substitution for an umlaut, and they want us to pronounce it Bonk.
Bonk, or
Bonk's Adventure.
Caveman? Is it supposed to be the wheel?
Dude, I can't even tell you. Actually, you're probably right. That is probably what they were going for.
Okay, but
on the title screen, he's like sleeping in the O, isn't he? Like when the title comes up at the.
I don't know how it all ties in, but that somebody made a choice, an artistic decision, and they ran with it, and I'm not sure why, but that's what they did. Maybe Tsukasa Masuko could explain this to us if we could get him on the horn, which we probably won't, considering I don't even know if he's alive or dead or have his number or speak Japanese. So.
None of that'll hold us back. I think we're going to do this. He'll be happy to talk to us, I'm sure.
All right.
Especially about the size of the O, yeah. Upon actually playing the game, I have to admit, right off the bat, I was pretty I don't want to say intrigued, but I guess I was. I was startled by how the game doesn't look 16-bit to me at all, but it doesn't look 8-bit either. I would describe it as like a 10 or 12-bit game.
Here's the thing. It's deceiving. Still shots of it make it look really neat.
It did. I thought that very thing, yes.
Still looking at a still shot goes, oh, wow, that's actually very nice graphics for that time. And the colors are very vibrant.
It's a very vibrant, crisp, a lot of like really nice, like clearly delineated outlines on every object.
A lot of the static background is very well done. However, at the end of the day, they could have made this on the NES. I mean, really, the colors probably would not have ran as vibrant. Maybe that's what the extra 8-bit of divisive processor they had going on. Well, I still don't know what that deal is.
I don't know. Maybe it was that second processor that made the graphics, like a little bit brighter, a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more just maybe the sprites. I'm not sure. I mean, it looks nicer than an average Nintendo game, but it doesn't look like anything like that you'd find on a Super Nintendo game.
No, it does not rival the Super Nintendo by any stretch of the imagination. I know they did end up releasing it on Super Nintendo. So
I think just the Nintendo, didn't they, or was it the Super Nintendo?
Maybe it was just the Nintendo. I know it was one of the NES platforms.
I never really followed the series, so I could be wrong. I'm not sure, but you're right. One of the Nintendo platforms it wound up on.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty game. I wouldn't describe it as like a really good looking game, but it's pleasant to the eye, if that makes any sense.
There's some goofy animations here and there that are worth a chuckle, I guess. But.
I do like that when he dies, he he like lays on the ground, I think, with his arms out, and he foams at the mouth.
Yeah, his eyes bulge out of his fucking skull. Yeah, so.
That I dug. I thought that was pretty awesome.
What'd you think of the actual gameplay? You get to bonk shit. I mean, it doesn't lie.
Truth in advertising.
Exactly. I mean, you bonk, and you can bonk everything. Basically, if you are skilled enough to bonk something, you can bonk it. Like with his head. But by bonk, it gives you a button and he does like a head thing, or if you're jumping, you can spin in the air and his head hits shit. If you are quick enough and you know what you're doing, like literally nothing can really hit you. He does a standard like a headbutt when you're stationary, or as you said, if you jump in the air and press the headbutt button, you will like dive bomb downwards and bounce off something with your skull. For those of you who listen to podcasts yet are your hands tied behind your back with any amount of technology, and you've not had the curiosity to see exactly what Bonk's adventure is, he's a caveman. He's a caveman with an oversized dome. His head's large, and he uses it to bonk things because that's what cavemen's do. And
cavemen's? You're a caveman.
That's what the cavemen's do.
What the cavemen's do.
But that's the premise of the game, really, in a nutshell. He lives in is he on another planet, I think?
The story, the story as I remember it is Bonk's like princess has been kidnapped by the vile King Drool, and you got to go get her back. And I think he took her to the moon or Moonland or something. For fuck's sake, I think that's your story right there. Okay. King Drool came and took the princess. And I honestly think that's about the story. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then there's a bunch of dinosaurs and shit, and you got to run around and bonk them and get the little platformer. It's a platform game. You jump around
through and through.
Obstacles. There's little bonus rounds that are very remedial and easy and just. I don't know. I went into this game excited to play some Bonk's Adventure because I've already mentioned as a kid just always thinking it was neat and being excited to play it, and I just left it very underwhelmed. It's a pretty terrible game, and I played through the whole fucking thing. I don't know. It's not. I mean, the gameplay is not even bad. I guess it's just boring. There's nothing cool about it. There's no payoff at the end. The end of every level is literally you just walk. There's nothing to defeat really. It kind of tries to break down the levels like 1-1, 1-2, like a Mario-esque type thing, although there's no rhyme or reason really to how many levels there are.
Yeah, one of the levels had like 7 stages in it or whatever, and then like the next one had like 1.
The first level has 5, the second level has 5, the third level has 4, the fourth level has 4, and the fifth level, if you really break it down, has like 11. I don't know that it numbers them all, but I mean, I found like 11 different like little version, platforms and
right.
You know what I mean? Little different.
Yes. Stages, for lack of a better term.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it seems like they either just were confused or didn't know how to, or they just, I don't know why. Would you not, why was there no symmetry in why you leveled off the different levels?
It kind of bugs you, doesn't it?
Well, it seems like they were like, well, I don't feel like making this many bosses. I don't know, which we're also, don't get me started.
That might be.
Bosses, but.
Yeah, we're getting too far ahead. There's so much to say about all this.
Basically, every level is dinosaurs that you bonk with your head and various obstacles. Sometimes there's like fire and volcanoes that you bonk, like the rubble and rock that comes at you. They all have plants with like hidden fruit and sometimes hearts. And if you're really lucky, the fruit will have like a heart capsule in it that you can, hold more energy at that point.
It'll extend your life, yeah.
Exactly. And then every once in a while, those plants will have like a hidden enemy, like a disguised enemy rather than a piece of fruit or a heart in it. And there's those all through every level, and there's, it's a typical platformer. There's pitfalls and things to jump over and obstacles and but there's not like any, like, I don't know, there's like a cow head at the end of every it's just, I don't know, it seems like, and I can't accuse them of not thinking it through, because there is a whole story, and like, I mean, I don't know.
We gotta pull back, man,
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to rush through it because I want to.
You want to stop talking about Bonk and go read a book or something?
I want to do anything but talk about Bonk or ever play it again.
All right, man, so much ground to cover there. Here's the thing. I'll save my final summary for the end, because I've got a couple ways to wrap it up. The way I started playing Bonk was, as you pointed out earlier, it looks really good in the pictures. Before I actually sat down to play the game, it's been a busy couple of weeks for me, which is kind of uncharacteristic. So I really got a late start on this game, and I thought, well, I mean, it's supposedly a short game, supposedly pretty easy. I'll probably breeze right through it.
Did you beat it?
No, and actually, there's a little bit of a story to that, which you'll definitely hear. I definitely wanted to make a point about that. I did not beat it, but I got all the way to the end. What happened was, when I first sat down to start playing the game, I got everything together, and I looked at some pictures on Google, just out of curiosity. Hey, what's this game, going to look like, tonight when I sit down to play? Because I myself have never played Bonk's Adventure before. At the time when you had played it, I never even, I probably hadn't even ever touched a Turbografx. In fact, the first Turbografx, the only Turbografx I ever got, the one I still own, some dipshit sold me his.
Yeah.
And, that's the one I've still got, yeah.
I can't believe I convinced you to buy that thing from me.
On another episode, we might talk about the 2 games that convinced me to it, which was East, books 1 and 2, and Order of the Griffin, which are both good games.
Yeah, fantastic games.
So,
I was the only person I knew who had the Turbografx 16 and the CD player attachment, which was
the Turbo Duo.
First CD.
I think it was. We kind of got a little bit of, I was confused about that when we did the Monkey Island. I thought the Sega CD had come first, but I think we established that it was the Turbo Duo, actually, that hit first, yeah.
I ended up getting the Turbografx 16 from a buddy of mine who clearly didn't find any worth or value.
That system's been passed around like a $3 whore.
I had like a fancy calculator. When scientific calculators were basically new and all the rage, A buddy of mine had one that I traded something to him for it.
Like comic books or something.
Yeah, because and then my buddy was like, he was entering junior high or high school or something like that, and he was like, thought that calculator would come in handy.
I could make use of that hand. Well, actually, I was just about to say hand mounted. Was it like a wrist, like a wristwatch calculator, or like an actual?
It was like one of those like Texas Instruments scientific calculators that you could actually put a graph and do graphing.
I gotcha.
And things like that on it. It was very, very nice actually. And he was like, "Dude, I'll trade you my Turbografx for that." And I was like, "Oh fuck yeah!" And then lo and behold, it sucked a big fat cock.
When I came around and said, "Hey, I'll buy that for me for $75," you were like, "Fuck yeah!"
Well, in fairness, East is a great game that was on there. You got that awesome tennis game. And World Court Tennis. We'll cover that in the future because it's too weird not to cover that. And Order to the Griffin, which is a Dungeons and Dragons role playing game that was actually for its time a very cool game. Yeah, it was. Yeah. That was. I hadn't yet had any of those experiences when Bonk was released. So, in the 1990s, early 1990s, I was pretty much completely unfamiliar with the Turbografx. Sure. So it's kind of to their credit then that Bonk was, I guess, it was embedded in the public consciousness as much as the character was, because though I'd never played a Turbografx, I was aware of that character. I was curious as a little kid as to how the game actually was. Yeah. I had apparently correctly gotten the impression that it was kind of like a Mario game. Sonic wasn't out yet, but it wasn't too long after that Sonic did come out, so I heard that it was compared to that too. We played Sonic, and Sonic was awesome. So. Sonic was a very good game, yeah.
Mario's
and it goes awesome, Sonic's awesome.
Bonk.
I figure Bonk's their man. Bonk's going to be awesome, right?
You'd think, because they did really push that to be their mascot character, as you said earlier.
Yeah.
But, But I'm looking at the pictures, and again, the game looked good. It looked colorful. It looked vibrant. I thought, I can see myself having fun with this. This looks like, I'm down for like a Mario-centric type.
I was pumped when the Game Selector 17,000 chose Bonk's Adventure. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, but, something different.
Yeah, but...
Well, when I sat down to play it, another thing is the music. I guess that was the first thing right off the bat. I didn't like, and I don't remember it now, I don't know if you do either, but the opening title, where it just says Bonk's Adventure Scrolls. I actually didn't like that tune, but
it's very sleepy. It's like, okay.
Oh, I do remember it now. Yeah, you're right. It is kind of, yeah. Well, very just kind of like basic plain.
It's a sleepy move that makes sense. But
yeah, it's like the Bonk's lullaby.
Because I guess cavemen are lazy. Is that?
I don't even. You're probably putting too much thought into it.
Or is he? Did he dream this whole adventure?
Again, I think you're putting too much. It's like a Shyamalanian twist that the game doesn't deserve.
There you go.
I sit down and play the first level, and again, it looked really good. I liked the first stage music. I heard it. This is one of those games that has 4 at most level tunes that recycle all throughout the game. I'm not talking about they loop in the stage, although they do that too. I mean, the game itself has a total of 4 tracks divided between all the different levels of the game.
Right.
So while I did eventually get sick of it, I did like the first level stage music. I thought it was cool. So I've got that. I've got the good, the pretty graphics, and I'm thinking this is going to be fun.
I will go on record in saying that it outdid Monkey Island in the music.
Because it's got some. Yeah, I would know better than the Monkey Island music, but it plays a lot more. That's for sure. Everything's going all right, and then I start playing the actual game, and literally the first impression I had was I started, kind of fussing around with the controls. I jumped up in the air and I did my headbutt down onto the ground. I don't know why, there's nothing really that should have said this to me, but the first impression I got was, I'm guessing that's going to get awkward. I'm feeling like that's eventually going to get to be a pain in the ass.
For those of you not familiar with this high-tech 16-bit system, it basically comes with an NES controller. The controller for the Turbografx is 2-button. It's a 2-button controller. It's not very advanced. The only advancement it gives you is actually its console released controllers has turbo adjustment.
It's got the turbo on them. Yeah, you don't have to buy a separate turbo controller.
Exactly, but that's as high tech as it gets. So, that's what you have. You have 2 buttons to play with on this.
Yeah. We're basically playing Bonk with an actual Nintendo controller for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, it's even built. So it's square. It has 2 buttons. It's the same way. It is the Nintendo controller.
Right. And I'm sitting here, again, doing the jumping dive attack, and I'm just thinking, this is, I don't know, somehow I don't I feel weird about this. You know what it was? It seemed like kind of an awkward, unconventional way to play the game, or at least Mario. I mean, it's in all fairness, it's not too different from Mario. A lot of the stuff that we've mentioned so far isn't too dissimilar from Mario. Running through. Well, hang on, like running through at the end of the level. Like you said that there's like no boss on most of the levels. Like Mario is like that. Mario World in particular.
You at least have a flagpole to jump towards. Something to like score an achievement of some sort that you can, I could try to get the top of that flagpole or something. I mean, it's something.
I guess that's true. I mean, you're not really doing much, but there's like a final, I guess, miniature goal to achieve. I guess that's true. Well, I was remembering Mario a lot when I was playing this game, Mario and Sonic, because the controls in particular, Mario, I mean, in the Mario games, you're basically just jumping on enemies. In this game, you're doing the same, but you have that extra step. Instead of just hopping on the enemy by just tapping the one jump button, you jump in the air and then press the attack button to dive down on them. It's like a two-step process.
You can tap it a few times and you kind of soar through the air and you can hit enemies up in the air and things like that. And it is kind of neat that you can bonk shit around. Like I said, when it says it's Bonk's adventure and you can bonk shit with your head, you can bonk everything, and there's different ways to do it, and you can get good at it. There is skill to the game. The reason I don't compare it to like Mario or Sonic is because there's no rhythm to it. I can like zip through a Mario game with a certain rhythm and usually find a way to like where I can run through each level and kind of do my own thing. And same with Sonic, you can find a rhythm to it. Like this was just kind of no rhyme or reason. It was more spotty, I guess.
Here's the problem I have with the controls, basically in a nutshell, is that there are what I would describe as variables. Like in a Sonic or Mario game, when you jump, you basically know what to expect. When you're in the air, when Sonic is in the air, you know that you can like jump through things to kill them. When Mario is in the air, you know that you can't hit anything when you're airborne, otherwise you'll take a hit. You have to land on the enemy, and that's just that. In Bonk, you have to, when you jump in the air, you're vulnerable. But then as soon as you hit that button to do your diving headbutt thing to actually attack the enemy, that usually works. But the thing is, here's where the variables come in. When you dive attack onto the enemy below you, you jump, you hit the button, you headbutt the enemy below you, you'll bounce. And when you bounce, you're again. So the game sets up tons of situations where you'll jump on an enemy, bounce up into the air, and something is above you. And if you're not quick enough, if you're not thinking fast enough to hit the button again to hit the enemy above you, you pinball between them. Yeah. And there's a am I supposed to be like pressing my attack button, or am I supposed to just be like letting myself jump up? Because Bonk can also hit enemies from underneath. If he jumps up and hits like an airborne enemy from underneath, that will also kill the enemy. But there are some enemies where that doesn't work. You'll jump up in the air, and if you hit it's so hard to explain. It's like I have to like draw a diagram as to how like certain enemies you have to press the button and certain enemies you don't. And the game is just really bad at throwing you into a bunch of situations to where like you have to know like within a second's notice, okay, tap the attack button, but now don't tap the attack button. And it's I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
I guess if you got good at it, there's skill involved, and if that's your thing, I'm sure people like the game. I'm not one of them. It's
tricky.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, don't get me wrong. I got decent at it. I did. I just didn't find it fun. I was able to do that. And by the time I got to the later levels of the game, I was very good at not getting hit by shit. Honestly.
I wasn't. I so wasn't.
No, that's just it. You might not have had. I don't know. I guess I didn't have my heart into it by any means, or I didn't care to get good at the game. I mean, I did for the simple fact that I wanted to beat the game. But I didn't enjoy any of it, really. It was like, I enjoyed it far more than Monkey Island. But
for the rest of the tenure of this podcast, Monkey Island is just going to be the whipping. Yeah, that game is like the lowest common denominator for you. That's funny.
Yeah, that's my benchmark.
For me, I mean, again, what really stuck to me, and we're going to talk about other elements of the game. For me, it was just the fucking controls. They were just awkward. I'll give you a specific example. There's a part in, I don't know, A level, I don't care which. You're bouncing off of an enemy. You jump up in the air, you hit your attack button, you go down, you bounce off of the enemy's head. Success. You've killed the enemy, and now you're bouncing back up. Now, like a pterodactyl comes flying down from the top of the screen. You have to hit the button again on the rebound back up to be able to hit it and knock it out of the air. Otherwise, you're going to take a hit. Yep. the designers made sure to put one of those flowers, one of those plants that you mentioned earlier, underneath you. So if you land on that, you're going to bounce, because that's what normally the game has you do. When you jump on these flower things, that's how you get fruit, power out of them. You have to jump on them. So you're jumping on an enemy, bouncing up and hitting a pterodactyl on the way up. Then it bounces you back down onto the plant. Now, if you're not quick enough, that plant is going to bounce you back again to hit like the next pterodactyl that's coming flying at you. And if you don't time it precisely to make sure that you're tapping, okay, now I attack, now I just let myself bounce. Now I attack, now I make sure to avoid the bounce. Like you're pinballing. The game is all about kind of pinballing you between a bunch of like physical obstacles to where you have to know exactly when you need to be attacking as opposed to just letting yourself be bounced up in the air. I mean, I'm making the game sound like it's like it was me having trouble with an easy concept. And in a way, I guess that could be. I mean, I'm good at a lot of platforming games. This was not one of them. But I mean, it really is a matter of like the level design is set up specifically to kind of trick you and trap you by throwing a lot of enemies at you. In some of the later stages in particular, throwing a lot of enemies at you and expecting you to like master bouncing off of things and knowing when to attack as opposed to just let yourself bounce off of them. Go ahead.
You chose a good word earlier, and you said awkward, and it was awkward. It did feel awkward. Like I said, I felt like, Mario, I can find a rhythm of running through a level, and you feel like you get good at doing that. Same with Sonic, you can get a rhythm going on. There's no rhythm or it is awkward, and it doesn't really compel you to want to get good at it, honestly.
That's how I felt.
Yeah, I did the whole game. That's how I felt. So yeah, that's the gameplay in a nutshell.
Yeah, I guess to me, I just couldn't get the timing down. I just again, I always used to be really good at platformers, but just like lately as an adult, and maybe because like the controls are unconventional in Bonk, but I mean, I had some of this problem with Mega Man too. Just I'm not as good as platformers as I used to be.
Maybe
I guess.
That's it. I still play a lot of platformers.
That's true.
Nintendo Wii, so maybe I'm just used to that whole.
I hadn't thought of that. That's a very good point.
Yeah, I enjoy platformer games typically. Not this one, but I typically do. I don't know. Okay, so that's basically the gameplay in a nutshell.
Yeah, the controls not a fan, but yeah, moving on.
Well, the whole game I'm not a fan. The premise of the game is basically Super Dinosaur King comes down to Dinosaur Land or wherever the fuck they live, and finds a few random dinosaurs or what have you, and places like mind control helmets on them.
Yeah, he puts like an egg on their head or something like that. Yeah, to make that. I looked in the instruction book. It actually says specifically he does this to make the enemies or to make these dinosaurs think that they don't like Bonk or something to that extent.
That's guy's got a lot of time on his hands. Does he? I mean, is the person he? What, like the Queen Za or Princess Za or whatever?
Yeah, Princess Za, yeah.
Is that short for pizza? I mean, is it?
I thought that too. I thought that. I saw, yeah.
Anyways, I mean, is that Bonk's girlfriend or I don't get it.
If it was explained, I never caught it. It wasn't in the instruction book that I saw. I looked through it today and I didn't.
I don't know. There's a caveman. Maybe I better invent mind control helmets to place on the only people I see that could possibly kill this guy. I guess I'm searching for logic. I should just let it be a farce.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, again, to make the Mario comparison, there's not much of a story to Mario.
No,
like the Dinosaur King decides to.
There's so much more of a story to this that I guess that it's harder to like.
You expect more.
Yeah, I guess it's like, all right, like if you're trying to sell me a story, I mean, make it coherent. Anyway,
it's just.
And then there's all these bosses. You get through the first few levels, which honestly, I don't know. The only different. Okay, well, go ahead.
I was just going to say really quick. I forgot to mention that about the levels. In addition to them being, as you said, there's no symmetry. Like some stages will have whatever. I'm sorry, some levels will have like 5 stages. Some will have 4, whatever. But there's no like rhyme or reason to any of them. There's no theme to any level. Like whatever. Let's just say level 3. Like some of them are in a cave, some of them are underwater, some of them are in a field.
For first level, where you climb in the dinosaur's mouth and then you're like swimming through its bowels or something.
I guess that's what's going on. It was red, so I guess that's what they were getting at.
A bunch of parasites in their face.
I never thought of that. I guess you're right. That's actually what it's supposed to be. That's disgusting dinosaur parasites. Yeah.
So basically.
How did you feel about the water levels? Did you despise them them like I did? Were they just like a stupid pain in the ass?
Despised the entire game.
So they didn't stand out.
No, they were. I guess I didn't mind. It was very easy to swim. You didn't have to keep tapping at a button and shit, I guess. Which
No, but he just went so slow, and it seemed like the collision detection, if you got anywhere even like slightly near an enemy, like you don't even like bounce back or anything. It's just like, oh, I flashed, I took a hit. Okay, well, I wasn't even near that thing, but whatever.
I did like when you died that you don't start over. You pick up right where you left off, and you get to choose. It does not restart you till you hit start, so you can give you a second to regroup. That was a nice feature.
That was, more games should have done that. When you die, your corpse just kind of lays there until you decide to hit the button to make your character reanimate.
More games should have your guy foam at the mouth when you die too.
That was awesome. I don't know. That was just he literally looks like he's in like a serious death state. It's pretty dramatic.
When he goes like zombie Hulk when he eats like beef, basically.
Yeah, when Bonk eats meat, he goes into like a. He almost looks to me like a really sloppy image of Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes. He just like spazzes out and he's got like spiky head and he for some reason he gets angry from eating meat, whatever.
And then when you bonk the ground, it freezes the enemies for a second when you're in that state. And if it's like a power up. Yeah, and if you get enough meat, it's kind of like having like a star in Mario Brothers where you're invincible for a bit and you can just run through some stuff. However, it seems like, certain things you should be able to run through just stop you when you're in that. So even then you can't get like a good rhythm to run through the level.
That's another aspect of the control that really bothered me, the stopping. I can think of a couple specific examples where I had that invincibility and I'm running along, and I noticed that when I like dropped from one platform to the next, even if it was just a little platform of just like an inch on the screen, like he'd stop. He'd like take a step and kind of stop.
It shaved off the time you got to use that invincibility power up.
Slowed down your momentum. Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. So that was in addition to other stuff that I'm sorry, I failed to mention this a minute ago, but there were some scenes later on in the game where you were jumping on platforms that would open up and close, the basically the reappearing disappearing platform that's typical to platformer games. And I don't know if it was me, I don't know what the problem was, but there were several times where I would jump on one of these platforms, press the button to jump away before it opened up and dropped me to the floor below, and I would tap the button. I heard the damn button, I felt it under my finger, and I'd hit it, and Bonk would just stand there. And lo and behold, the platform opened and down he dropped. There was like the controls weren't just awkward; they were sticky. Like Bonk, the controls weren't smooth. Bonk's movement wasn't smooth.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. There was times where when there's enough enemies on the screen, and like I said, you didn't get the rhythm down. I did get good at bonking shit, and it was kind of a cool feature. I mean, it was neat. You could get good at like bonk bonk, ding ding bonk bonk, and like kind of pinball shit around the screen, and you could get pretty good at clearing out enemies. And that was a little fun, a little satisfying, but not enough to hold my attention.
You can imagine then that it was even worse for me because I did not have such a rhythm. Yeah.
I'm going to take this quick minute to point out Mike the Rat Guy was having a bit of microphone difficulties, a little problems. He was cutting in and out here and there. You'll probably notice that up to this point. So far, your mic seems fixed. So
we're gonna hope for the best. Yeah, I took my microphone off and peed on it, so hopefully that'll fix it.
Well, that fixes everything.
It does. That's some advice. That's some sage-like advice, kids.
I mean,
urine and duct tape, often together.
The only survival kit you need. Okay, just to mention that in case you notice some cutting out. Hopefully that won't be an issue the rest of the episode. So
we'll
moving
try.
Forward. Oh yeah, again, the levels that didn't seem like there's any continuity in theme.
No.
So I guess you play through the
and they were so fucking long too, especially near the end of the game. They just went on and on.
And the more you went through the game, that was the only continuity. Is the further you went through the game, the longer the levels get.
My God.
The first boss.
He was kind of like a dopey purple dinosaur-looking guy.
Tubby dinosaur with a helmet, a crash helmet, basically the mind control helmet from the King Dinosaur Man.
King Drool.
Is Drool? Is that his name?
Yeah, that's what's in the instruction book. Yes. Okay. King Drool.
I went to download the instruction booklet, and whatever file I got was like an awkward file that I didn't have a program to read. So.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I did not. I did attempt to look at the instruction manual. I did not have enough.
You didn't. It's literally like 6 pages long, and it's like the bare bones. I mean, it's got a little bit of character, but it's pretty much just like the controls and so forth.
Basically, the first boss, you just bonk his head.
You just bounce on his head.
And you can do that. You can jump over him. You can keep landing on his head and kill him really fucking easily.
Yeah, he's really kind of just like a deceptive lead-in to some of the just nonsense bullshit of some of the later bosses.
Honestly, and I don't know if you want to just go through the bosses or if you.
We might as well. There's only like 4 of them. We might as well.
I don't know
if
you have things to say about other levels. I really don't.
Well, see, that's the bummer about the game. One of several bummers is that again, the graphics are vibrant. It's pretty. Yeah, it's just the game. Here's the thing. Okay, Mario levels are really well designed. There's just, I don't know, there's just like a joy to explore them.
Like level 6-1 where you first encounter like the fucking bullet bills and shit, because it sticks in my craw because I fucking know that game and it's awesome. I can't point out.
Yeah, what was levels 4-1 in Bonk's Adventure? Who fucking knows?
And maybe obviously I've played Super Mario Brothers 1 a million times, but that also speaks for it. I played that game a million times because it's good. I have no desire to play this game ever again.
I just played Bonk's Adventure just tonight, just literally probably 5 to 6 hours ago, and I don't remember. I mean, I remember some of the iconography. I remember trees. I remember like a quicksand. I remember caves. I remember water. But there was no like as you said, Mario. There was no like giant level. There was no like desert level. Right. There was no water level. It was just like every stage.
3-1 where it's fucking orange and black and Halloween looking and awesome and just all the shit level. Nothing. I could care less about this fucking game.
I'm just talking about the levels. I haven't even gotten to my synopsis yet, but sure. I mean, you're right though. I mean, it's just there's again, as pretty as the graphics are. I mean, again, they're not. I wouldn't say that they're bad graphics, but I wouldn't say they're 16-bit Super Nintendo quality graphics.
Again, if you looked at stills of this game, like if you're thinking, oh, this can't be that bad, and you just go look at some stills of this game and say, hey, that's not that bad. No, the stills actually do look decent. But watch it. Go look at a YouTube video or play it yourself. It doesn't hold up. It's not.
You just, after playing through, like, at least in my experience, like, I'm not even going to, speak for anybody else. I'll just say for me, I played through like the first like 3 or 4 stages, not even levels. We're talking like stage 1, 3, 1, 4, whatever. I just like, whatever effect of the prettiness of the graphics, the vibrancy of the colors, it kind of wore off. It was like, okay, I'm just looking at the same thing, now I'm looking at a tree. Now I'm looking at a cave. Same thing I looked at in the last level. It's just a random hodgepodge of background.
And a lot of the same, if not similar enemies.
Yeah, pretty much. They do slowly start to, integrate some stuff later on. I mean, they do kind of drift feed a little bit, but you do often run across a lot of the same monsters throughout the game.
Or even different monsters that kind of just do the same shit.
Do the same thing. Yeah.
There is a few. There's later ones. There's one that really pissed me off. I'll talk about that.
But I'd like to hear what it is, because I'm wondering if it's the same one that I was incredibly pissed off by.
Well, it was from like level 5, somewhere in there.
Was it like the back and forth, like statues? They were statues with like Triceratops skulls on them or something like that. I fucking knew it.
My notes, I wrote the dumb Cenobite looking winged Triceratops things.
Wait a minute, the things I'm thinking of certainly didn't look like Cenobites. That would have been cool.
They kind of had like the black, like gowny looking. I don't know. That's what it looked like to me.
But now you said winged though. Were they actually airborne? Because the things I'm thinking of weren't.
A couple of ones that I did, they wouldn't fly around. No, they would stand there still. But then a couple wings would pop up and it would hover up for a second. But then sometimes it would just come shooting forward towards you. And
okay, then I think now I do think it's the same thing I'm thinking of then.
Yeah,
all right.
They were.
They kind of in one stage there was an onslaught of them. They were like they had like yes. But, you might remember the other day, again, we don't normally give any kind of, we specifically withhold. Usually, you and I we'll talk throughout the week or whatever, and we'll say, hey, have you played any of that game yet? Yeah, I have. We'll specifically abstain from telling each other what we thought of it to save that reaction for this podcast, so we can hear it live as you guys do. But we every now and then do say stuff like I won't say what I think about it, but I'm kind of having trouble with the spot that I'm on or whatever. Yeah. Or I turned it off today because I got stuck. Actually, the spot that I don't know why that reminded me of it. No, I did get kind of stuck on that spot tonight, and I was getting like really infuriated because like the things that I'm thinking of, they're like, they come whipping at you left and right. They're like statue things, and they just slam into you. That pissed me off to the point where I was almost ready to just quit the game and say, forget it, I just don't care. The part that I got stuck on the other day that I just kind of hinted at, that was, I don't really know looking back why I got stuck on it, because I got through it just fine today when I picked it back up. But it was the part where you have to climb up, and when Bonk jumps up and holds onto a wall, he'll he'll hold onto it with his teeth. Yeah, he'll chomp onto the wall.
Honestly, the animation's very amusing, but
it is an animation. It looks cool, but it's awkward.
It's too much time to do.
It does. You have to keep tapping the jump button to be able to climb the fucking wall.
It's not like, well, here, do this thing because it takes skill and it's difficult to do. It's really easy to do.
It's just time consuming.
Yeah, exactly. It's just pointlessly time consuming.
Yeah. So the level that I had a problem with the other day was
climbing through all those vines.
Vines, yes.
You go back and forth and
yes. Yeah. I just kept on getting, there were patterns there. If there's one thing the game is really good at least in my playthrough, was the designers seemed really good at the Castlevania school of thought of, we're going to put enemies just specifically in place to fuck you up. If you jump over this one, that one over there is going to hit you. If you try and duck under that one over there, this one over here is going to hit you.
In fairness, this game gives you the opportunity to bonk them if you do have that timing, so Castlevania just fucks you. So this one does give you an out if you cared to, tighten up your bonking skills.
Which, and that's where part of it comes down to not only the game but also me. It's funny that it's kind of an even split. When I got through that vine stage, or when I attempted to the first time, the stage itself wasn't too bad, but it's really telling to me that when I was trying to get through it, I was already so frustrated from the game up to that point. I was just angry. I just didn't want to deal with it.
It wasn't fun.
It wasn't fun. No, at least that part of the game.
I didn't feel accomplished. It wasn't fun.
I didn't think so. Yeah. At least that specific level, no. I turned it off. I was like, I don't want to play this today.
Basically, now that we've talked about the first level and that level, that's kind of really the only difference when it comes to any levels. That was the only thing that was any kind of different, really.
You're kind of right. Yeah, there are a couple stages late in the game where the one stage is 5 straight hours of going up. I hated that shit.
Jumping on those bones that moved back and forth here and there, those were a little aggravating too.
Oh, those back and forth and up and down bone platforms.
There was kind of awkward timing jumps. That was like a skill one that I had a little bit of trouble with. But
see, that's funny. I didn't have any trouble with those, but that was around the same area where you had those opening closing blocks. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. The crawling up the vine stage kind of irked me. And it didn't help that, again, it was time consuming to have to jump onto the side of the wall or the side of the vine rather with Bonk's teeth and just constantly tap the A button or the 1 button or whatever to slowly climb the vines. So I wasn't having any fun. But anyway, we're talking about the levels, whatever. Let's get back to the bosses. The second boss well, actually, when you kill the boss, it's worth pointing out, I was actually kind of amused at that. When you defeat the boss, they become your buddy.
Your best,
The first one literally says something like, "I'm your best friend now, arf, arf, arf." Do you remember that?
It's a dinosaur dog thing?
I guess. I fucking guess. The second one was...
Here's the thing. There's not a whole lot to say about much of the... We kind of talked about the things that were memorable about the levels. Let's just go through the fucking bosses.
Yeah, because, facetiousness aside, straightforward, straight talk, the levels, the terrain looks different, the backgrounds look different, but there's really not much, again, there's no real theme running through each level, so they kind of blur together. There's no one memorable part of the game.
And again, there's different characters and things, nothing noteworthy. They're cactuses that are stationary that are, you can't really kill them. You can't really bonk the cactuses to death.
No, see, those are the things that I kept on getting fucking flung into when I was trying to bounce off of a different boss.
There's trees that move if you hit them.
Yeah, but the only purpose of doing that really was to collect smiley faces, which is the game's sort of bonus points. I don't know if you bothered with that.
Yeah, because if you get enough points, you get an extra life.
Sure.
It's kind of worth trying to grab all that shit. But
I did for the first level or two, and then I just, again, my attitude towards the whole game, it was just I don't care. Okay. I just don't care.
Okay, we talked about the first boss. Boss number 2, obviously, again, fitted with a helmet. I found boss number 2 to be the most difficult boss in the game.
Not for me, though. I can see why you would. That one was really kind of a jump up in trickiness. I mean, the first boss, you just jump on his head. This one disappears and he creates a clone of himself.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's one of those old school game tropes where you don't know which one is the real one, and only the one that's not the clone will take damage. So you're getting hit left and right trying to. Yeah.
And to me, that was the hardest boss. But again, Not like it was overly tricky. It was.
No, just it's hard to define it, and part of it is our bias because we just simply didn't have a good time playing the game. Somebody else, this is a very popular game, even still. From what I've read, this is a pretty highly regarded game, and whatever, to each their own. If people love the game, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to judge you, man. Some people like Monkey Island. It's just.
Some people like Joe Dirt. What are you going to do? You were about to defend it. Fair enough. Shrug. Yeah, but I mean, the game is pretty well received. And again, fair enough. Maybe if I'd played it when I was a kid, I might have felt the same way. But as I'm playing through it now, I don't even know why I brought this up. I lost my train of thought. I'm bitching about the bosses, I guess. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, the game is not like hard. It's just, in my opinion, it's just not really fun enough to outweigh the frustrations. So when you're playing, you play through a Mario game, there's going to be parts that frustrate you, but it's still a good game. So you're driven to overcome that challenge. In Bonk, every time I got hit or whatever, I was just getting pissed off. It was like, oh, this fucking game.
Now, was the second boss like a geeky dinosaur velociraptor-y thing? I mean, what was that thing?
I'm sure I'm wildly incorrect, but like my visual recollection of what it was like a dinosaur chicken looking fucking thing. Okay. It was like a dinosaur dog chicken type of.
A velociraptor is a dinosaur chicken-y type.
Kinda, yeah. You're probably more correct than I am. I mean, I was already fed up by that point, so we'll go with what you said.
The third boss.
That's the one that fucked me up.
Oh, see, I thought that one was easy again.
Really? Like he's like a little like rock guy. Well, the game describes him as a monkey, which
that's just it. I'm a monkey, an alien monkey.
I thought he was supposed to be like a Godzilla type of looking thing, but then
I don't know what the fuck it was supposed to be. The game tells me it's a monkey. It's a monkey. I guess.
It's like a creature, like some kind of creature that burrows into the ground, which monkeys are very well known to do. Sure, comes out with. There you go. It's a burrow monkey. Yeah. It comes out with like a diamond or a piece of stone or whatever, and it hurls it at you, and every now and then it'll like raise its individual fists, left fist up, right fist up, and of course, again, you have to bounce on its head. And it's tricky because sometimes it's got, one fist up over the other, and you can only hit him when that one fist isn't up, in your ass. Yeah. And he's throwing stuff at you in the meantime, and I don't know, just for some reason he was just tricking me. His pattern wasn't hard, but for some reason I just kept on taking hits when I tried to hit him. Yeah. And here's another thing about the controls. Bonk works in such a way to where you'll remember earlier I said that you can hit enemies from below. If you jump up and hit them from underneath, you'll headbutt them down, whatever, you'll defeat them. That counterintuitively, I mean, that works against you when you're fighting the bosses. This creature in particular, if you run along like next to him or whatever, you can get like in front of him, like your sprite will basically overlap his, and you're underneath his head at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like you're in front of him. Camera wise, you are standing in front of the boss. He is behind your sprite. When that happens, I wanted to jump up to get away because obviously contact with the boss means that I'm going to take a hit. But because I'm under his hitbox, which is his head, I would try to jump up and get away from the boss, but instead I would hit his head from underneath, and I couldn't get out. If that makes any sense. Can you picture what I'm saying? Yeah. Like picture Mario trying to jump up through a block that's above his head. You can't. You jump up and you hit the block. Da-ding, you get the coin. That was happening to me with that boss. I was hitting his head from underneath, like Mario jumps up and hits a mystery box. Sure. And because of that, my sprite was kept in the boss's sprite, leading me to take another hit. Gotcha. Weird shit like that. See, yeah.
That didn't happen to me at all. I found him pretty easy to just dunk in his head a bunch of times.
Weird.
Yeah.
Two totally different experiences.
The next boss, the boxer.
Yeah, the first time I played that character, I actually killed him without a hit, without even taking a single shot. But then the second time, and we'll get to that momentarily, when I go through the bosses again near the end of the game, he killed me 5 times. How'd you have?
Yeah, you said you didn't beat it, but you did play through the bosses again.
I guess we should probably discuss that now.
Well, here's the thing. As underwhelming as this fucking collection of fucking bosses are, this misfit group of
just a weird misfit,
this lackluster batch of fucking fuckheads.
I think that's what they're described as. I think that's like King Drool's name for them.
Exactly. Apparently the developers were so proud of themselves. They were like, wouldn't it be epic at the end? Is if when you finally make it through like level 9 or 10 of the final level,
like stage 57.
You walk past a statue of each of those fucking awesome bosses. Like you literally walk past like these grayed out statue, like it's supposed to be building. Like there I remember him. That
oh, good memories.
So stupid. And then you get through them all, and then you eventually have to go back and it does like the whole video game cliche where now you got to refight all the bosses in a row.
Yep, with one life. Yeah. Well, not necessarily with one life, but in a continual. Right.
How many lives you have? Yeah.
Right. And I'm sorry, you go ahead because I've got a whole little tale about that.
It's just, again, I already knew the pattern on how to beat them all, so it was really easy, and to me, it was just okay, I'll do it. I know you're going to make me do it. I'll do it. Fuck you. And, yeah, so...
That's funny because though the end result was different, our thought processes were identical. Basically, here's how it went down for me. This ties into why I didn't finish the game. The audience needs to understand something, that when you get to the end of like level 4, I think there's 5 levels in the game. Each level has like a bunch of sub stages. Right. When you start level 5, you have no idea that you're literally going to go to like level 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, like all the way up to, like you said, like 5-11 or some shit. I don't know
that it numbers them all, but it feels like there's at least like 10, 11.
It's a long fucking slog. The last stage of the game, without really any warning, it's just a long, just uninterrupted slog. You're going up, you're going right, you're going up, you're going left, you're going up, 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 up. It just fucking went on and on and on. I'm already the game started to frustrate me in the first, like level 2, level 3, whatever. It didn't take very long. I'm like an hour into the game and I'm already frustrated, but I continued through it. I'm kind of, trying to be a sport, trying to play, not really having any fun. So not only is it now frustrating me, it's just like, I just don't want to be playing it. I was playing through the game out of a sense of duty to do it for the podcast as opposed to just enjoying it, like already like not even halfway through the game. So by the time I'm in this last level, it's just going on and on and on, and I'm done. I'm just done. I don't want to play this anymore. I'm ready for it to fucking end at any point. I want the final boss to show up so I can beat him and just say, good, fucking I'm done. So you're right. What happens is you get to what is ostensibly the end of this last stage, and you start to walk through a long corridor, a long castle-like corridor, where you see the stone statues of all the bosses, the 4 bosses you fought before. They don't come to life or anything. You just walk
the pantheon of
the pantheon of, what'd you call them earlier? Like the fucked up misfit fucktards or whatever.
Fucktards.
The pantheon of lackluster fucktards. There you go. It's like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, or yeah. So you're walking past these bosses, and again, they're stone, they're part of the background. You think they're going to come alive, but they don't. You walk past them, and I'm thinking to myself, I swear to God, I thought, okay, I'm going to give this game 1 point of credit. It did not make me fight the bosses again, because I swear to God, I said I walked past all their stone statues. They didn't come to life. They didn't like ambush me. Oh, good. It's just like you said, like it's just like a memorial. Like, oh, look at these bosses. You've made progress. You're at the end, whatever, yada, yada drama. And then, like, a minute after you do this, like you go through the exit of that stage.
You're going to fight the final guy? He drops those eggs. He drops an...
The final boss shows up, King Drool drops some eggs, which gives life to the fucking statues. It brings the statues to life, and lo and behold, I was wrong. You do have to fight them all.
Right,
over and over. Yeah.
Video game cliche.
And I should have known. I gave it credit because they made me think. I mean, why wouldn't I think that? I walked past the damn statues. They remain stationary. I don't have to fight them again. Cool. Whatever. But no, they put me right back and I have to fight the bosses again. At this point, I was feeling a little bit more negative than you were, but I had essentially the same attitude. Shrug, eye roll, whatever. Okay, fuck it, I don't care. I didn't realize that I only had like 1 life. I had like 1 life in reserve plus like 2 hearts on my current life. Whatever. I thought that I'd have enough to do it. I thought wrong. I got to
them smiley faces.
I should have. I see that would have taught me my lesson. Had I spent more time enjoying the depths of this game, I would have had more smiley faces and more life.
Right.
So I've got a couple hearts plus 1 life in reserve, and I figure I don't want to do this, but whatever. I'm at the very end of the game. Fuck it, I'll see it through. I'll start fighting the bosses, and I do okay, whatever. On the second time around, I had more trouble with that clone boss than I did the first time. I don't know why, but whatever. I got fucked up more than I thought.
To me, again, the hardest boss. Again,
tricky.
I use the term loosely because I didn't find him any soup. yeah. Man,
it wasn't fun.
No.
So I get to the boxing boss and I die. I only fought him the couple times, so I don't know if he's got a move that I just didn't realize was happening at the time until after the fact or what. But he appeared to have killed me in one shot somehow. Maybe that's just what he does. I don't know. He seemed to have lunged at me and like taken off like both of my 2 hearts to kill me to end that life or whatever. But it's like, okay, well, I've got a life in reserve. I don't, whatever. I'm at the end. This is the last of the 4 bosses that I'm having to fight for a second time. I don't want to do this, but I'm at the end of the game. I'll do it. I'll use my last life to kill this boxing boss and hopefully proceed to King Drool, the end of the damn game. Again, somehow, even with almost full life, I don't know what happened. The boxing boss killed me in like 1 shot. Game over. And it says continue. And I'm thinking, okay, continue. It's going to start me off at the bosses again. But it doesn't. I press continue and it starts me off at actually, no, it did. I think I did. I hit continue. It started me off again at the bosses with like 5 lives or whatever. And I'm sitting here thinking, I fought the bosses once. I just fought the bosses a second fucking time. Now I have to go through them a 3rd time because I fucked up, because I lost my 1 life. Because the second time that I had to fight the bosses, I didn't have enough lives in reserve. So now I'm going to fight the bosses a 3rd time? And I said, no, I'm not. Fuck it. I'm done. I'm fucking done. I turned off the game. I don't care. Gotcha. I don't fucking care. I don't care if I was 2 minutes away from I'm sorry. I fucked up. I fucked that up. I did get past the boss. On that last life, I did get past those bosses, and I fought like the little red tractor boss or whatever. Little red. I'm sorry. You go ahead and explain that, because I only saw that once for like a second before I died. So you tell me about that part.
Okay. Well, you fight the tractor thing, and it's stupid. And then you beat the stupid tractor thing. And then here's the kicker. Then you blast off into space.
Okay, after you kill that red, like demolition.
Every time you're about to fight a boss, or you go down in the depths and you climb inside like the dinosaur skull. And
there's like a transport skull that brings you to the
right. Basically, you climb into that, and then that turns into a rocket ship. And you blast off into space. Now you're cavemen versus dinosaurs in space.
Which sounds cooler than it probably is.
Yeah, I guess, okay, I'll give you that, Hudson Soft. That does sound pretty cool. However, it is not cool at all. So you get up into space, and then you end up fighting, what is it, Lord Drool? King Drool?
King Drool, yes.
King Drool, okay. He's not fucking hard to beat either. You bonk them again, you bonk it a bunch of times, and then you end up freeing the fucking Princess Za, and then basically it says some comment like love is in the air or something like that.
Oh, I saw that. I saw it in the still image. Yes, it does say that exactly.
So it's basically, this game promotes bestiality. At the end of it
because it's like a little
it's like fuck this lizard bitch, bonk. What the fuck? That's not right. You should not be promoting man-beast sex at the end of a video game that's this terrible.
Among all the other atrocities this game commits, it suggests that Bonk, a caveman, should mate with this like sea creature-looking thing.
Exactly. Oh man, it was so bad.
Yeah, I mean, again, though I fucked up the last detail there, and I feel bad for doing it because I guess I just did it out of a rage. I forgot that last detail. I did fight the bosses a second time. The boxer killed me once, but then I got past him on the last of my lives, the life that I had in reserve. I got past the boxer. Yet that red tractor thing, whatever it is, I think it's called like R tractor or something tractor in the instruction book. I don't know. Either way, when that killed me, and then I was sent back to start the bosses all over again, that's when I said, forget it.
Yeah.
What's that?
So you lost to a vehicle.
I did. Well, you see, that's almost like kind of profound. Bonk the caveman, lost to a car. It lost to progress. It lost to man's invention of the wheel, the motorized wheel, apparently. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, we have some closing thoughts, obviously, but basically just my initial summary is just by the time I was at the end of the game and it tasked me with fighting the bosses not just twice, which was the game's fault, but a 3rd time, which was my fault, I checked out. I said, I just don't care. I don't fucking care. I'm done.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. It was terrible. It was a terrible fucking game. It was not fun. It was bad.
See, what's tough is that I feel as if there's some kind of lack of, like, there's a discrepancy somehow, because the game is apparently, again, pretty well regarded. I don't know what other people are seeing. Aside from the fact that it's pretty, I can't really think of anything in the game that I like.
For its time, going back and thinking about the time it came out, it is a pretty looking game. It's not any of the animations or anything could have happened on Nintendo. It's not impressive in the way, like, oh my god, how, like, Super Nintendo was mind-blowing compared to
No, God, no.
But it was pretty, and I think it's just the vibrant colors, and they did take some time. They did have neat-looking, enemies. They're cool.
Yeah, the game's got character.
Yeah.
I mean, I can give it that.
The caveman theme's kind of neat. The dinosaur theme's neat. Everybody, who doesn't like dinosaurs? The whole, whatever era, the Jurassic era, or
who knows at this point? Triassic? I couldn't tell you.
Whatever era they're supposed to be, in
pre-Clovis. I don't know.
But then in space. It's just like, I don't know.
It's the way I would describe the game is thus. It's like the first Sonic game combined with the first Mario game, and not as good as either one of them.
And I gotta say, when I did get good at bonking things around and jumping and hitting the ground and, like, freezing the enemies when I'm, like, when I'm wolfed out or whatever he is, and then fucking, I could jump up and hit a fucking bunch of enemies and come back down and hit another enemy. Some of that was a little satisfying, but not enough to hold my attention, like, to where I was like, oh, I need to do more of this.
That's another thing that I could really describe to the game, exactly what you just said. The game does some things right, but in my opinion, it's so not enough to overcompensate all the rest of the shit that it does poorly.
Exactly. Like, I don't know. Earlier today, I was playing the new Super Mario Brothers Wii and Wii U, and my kids were needed some attention, want lunch and go down for a nap and stuff like that. And as I was preparing their lunch and getting them ready for a nap and that kind of stuff, like, I was anticipating going back and playing it because I was enjoying my time. I was like, oh yeah. I was thinking about the levels I'd just played and wondering what the next levels were going to be like and this and that. And I had none of that anticipation while playing Bonk's Adventure. It was all just better get this done.
It was a sense of obligation. I had the exact same reaction you did, minus the kids and the comparison to Super Mario Brothers Wii. I basically just felt while playing Bonk, again, from, like, literally probably level 2 onwards, I thought, though the anger and frustration didn't build until a little bit further into the game, the general apathy, just the sense of, there's just nothing really grabbing me. I'm not really enjoying myself, was pretty much there almost from the start.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, apologies
to... It was really with me at level 1-1 and never really left.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. I was going to say apologies to the people who like it, because apparently there's a lot who do. It's just not for me. It didn't hook me. Fuck those people. What the fuck is wrong with you people?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the way you want to spend your time. Well, fuck it.
I bet they're football fans.
Yeah, football.
I'd rather watch football. I'd watch football in space before I play Bonk's Adventure ever again. That's there it is.
So, all right, what's the final score you're giving this out of 10?
After all the bitching, it might even sound high. To me, I kind of feel bad giving a game this low of a score, but I mean, as much as I try to be an objective and rank the game, not just for what it does right, but for also what it does wrong, not just for what it achieved and what it is, but also for how I liked it or didn't like it. I try to weigh all that stuff. I try and say, what was my experience with the game? What did I walk away thinking? How much do I think this game deserves? Honestly, I'd give it a 4. It gets a 4.
Wow, that is high.
Yeah, you less, huh?
Oh, fuck.
Because I have to recognize, I mean, because again, it's hard. Like no one thing about the game, I don't think, minus perhaps the control. My opinion, the control was just shit. I hated it. However, no other aspect of the game to me was like just infuriatingly bad. It was just mediocre. Like the game was just mediocre.
The control was shit for the simple fact that it was very responsive. It did everything what it claimed.
Not for me.
Well, what it did, I mean, it was. For what it had features. He jumps, he bonks his head forward, he spins in the air. Those all worked every time I tried them, I guess. I don't know.
But then you think of like the stuff like we were talking about earlier, where you're running with the invincibility and you kind of pause when you jump down a platform and shit like that. There were parts in the game where there were like little power-ups hidden between like little tiny little blocks that you could barely get into. You had to jump into them 10 times to fit.
To me, that's gameplay fault, not controller fault.
I see.
Like
to an extent, you're right.
The controller controls always did what it was supposed to do.
Oh, so you're talking about just the feel, like the gimmick, the structure of the game itself, essentially.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
It's I gotta rate it. I give it 2.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's forgettable.
Forgettable. It's a good word.
The best time I had with this game was checking out the still shots before I played it. It was like, oh, that looks fun. That was like the best fun I had. It was the only time I still had a glimmer of hope or like, it was like, yeah.
Honestly, like that's not even really hyperbole. I can't really say that I feel too differently. For me, at the very beginning, when I looked at the pretty graphics in motion, and when I heard that first level soundtrack, I thought, hey, this can be cool. But then you'll remember, I said as soon as I started jumping around trying the controls, I thought, this might be awkward, and I never really had fun after that.
Yeah,
Never, I mean, again, to me, I would want to rate it like a 2 or maybe a 3. But I know that there's probably going to be a game that I just hate in the future, and I have to reserve that. I didn't hate this game. I didn't like it at all. There's almost nothing I liked about it.
Again, thumbs down, man.
Yeah, same here.
Don't recommend it. Whatever, if you like it, that's cool. You know, maybe there's. Oh, did you discover any of the bonus levels?
It's hard to understand what the bonus levels were. I encountered a couple levels where I did stuff other than like run around and get like pinball between monsters, but I don't know if they were bonus levels.
You know, like when you were like in some of those where it almost looked like you were in Mexico somewhere, and there was like
I think so,
with like the cactuses, and you're jumping around those like little house looking things around. If you could go like inside those little blackened areas and stuff.
Yes, I did actually. Yeah.
Jump off this cliff and spin as many times as you can and land on your feet. And it was just like,
okay,
scale this mountain or collect all the fruit. And it was.
I was going to say I got the one with the fruit. Yeah, like I have to jump like kind of bounce and yeah.
None of those were hard or neat or paid off or just okay.
The game's just the game. The level design is
things and didn't succeed in any of them.
Well, just like again, there's no hook. I mean, I was just going to say the level design to me, it's just kind of bland and it's just kind of everywhere. The character design is cool, but like none of it really like sticks out to me as awesome. The bosses are more or less lame.
I wondered if maybe this was like a jumping off point for a series that got good. And
I read the other ones are worse.
Exactly. From everything I've read, everybody's like, "Oh, nothing beats the original Bonk's Adventure."
Oh man!
It's just kind of like, ooh.
If that's the highlight, then good God, why did Turbografx fail? Because Bonk's Adventure was their fucking pristine game. That was their mascot.
Yeah.
I know, and I feel bad to trash it because people are going to be like, and perhaps rightfully so. They're going to say you're just a dumb old man who hasn't played platformers in forever. You started the episode by saying you're not all that good at them anymore, and to an extent that's true. But the game just itself didn't offer anything to me that was fun.
If you would have popped it and you would have played Simon's Quest, you would have enjoyed it.
That's damn right. There's still plenty of platforms I'm really good at and like.
Yeah,
so shit.
It's like, and it's a much harder game than this. So
it is.
Yeah, so it's like
Castlevania. I just I'll tell you what. When I was in Wisconsin just a week ago, we were just talking about it in this episode. One of the things that my cousin and I did, we stayed up for like 3 hours playing from start to finish the first Castlevania on the Nintendo, and we loved every fucking minute of it.
Yeah.
It was a good time. This, no.
Nope. All right.
Yeah, there you go, folks.
Well, let's see what we're playing next week.
You want me to give a yank to the Gamer Raider 96?
Yeah, give it a tug.
All right, here we go. Boom! Now that's what I call that's topical right there.
There you go. Some foreshadowing from our discussion earlier. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out for the
Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Not going to have anywhere near the same amount of complaints for that game as we did with Bonk.
Oh, I adore that game. So
it's a good one.
I have not played through that in a really long time, but
no, I've never beaten it.
I guess you've never beaten it.
Never once. I've gotten to my boy Tyson, and he's always knocked me out.
He's a bitch. We'll see. We will see if we can knock Tyson out. Didn't you say you watched a video not too long ago of Tyson playing against Tyson and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out?
Yes, sadly it was on the deplorable Jimmy Fallon show, but he had Mike Tyson actually go against Mike Tyson in his own video game, which to me was a moment of just surreal awesomeness. And I don't know if it's because Mike was never much of a gamer. I don't know if it's because Mike is kind of insane, or if it's just because the game version of Mike Tyson is tough, but he lost. And Jimmy Fallon rolled on the floor screaming and gagging and doing his his shtick. But
laughing at his own joke.
He was literally rolling on the floor, just like thinking it was the most amazing thing in the world. And to an extent, it was. But
did Mike Tyson start at the beginning and get to himself, or did somebody clearly play up to that point and then hand him the controller?
He started at Tyson. I can't remember if somebody put in the code or if they had like a stagehand or whatever. I actually don't know that detail, but I do know that he walked up over to the game system when it was already on Tyson. Yes.
Gotcha. Because perhaps if he was warmed up, had played through the whole game, he'd have had a better shot.
Yeah, that could have been. Tyson knows better than to go after the champ just right off the bat. You have to work your way up first. Yeah. So, yeah, it could have been it.
Exactly. He probably would have lost a piston Honda,
Bald bull. Everyone lost a bald bull back in the day.
Bald butt.
Bald bull's a bitch. Did you? Bald butt?
Yeah, that's what we call it.
Bald butt.
Yeah, exactly.
We told him.
He hurt his fat feelings.
Oh, man. He's going to get you back. We're going to play this game again this next couple weeks, and he's going to, destroy you, and you'll feel bad.
Turkish bastard. All right, guys. Well, that is the Contra code. I don't know. Again, apologies for the microphone snafu for half the episode. Apologies for such a lame fucking game. It is what it is. A game selector 1952 fucking picks whatever game it fucking picks, and we're forced to play that son of a bitch, and we had to play Bonk's Adventure. Much to our dismay.
As much as you kick the machine, it doesn't make any difference. It'll still just keep spitting out whatever game it wants to spit.
You can go ahead and contact us at the Contra Code Podcast at gmail.com. You can check out our YouTube channel at the Contra Code Podcast. And you can subscribe to us on iTunes or Podomatic. You can also leave some feedback. That'd be wonderful if you left us a nice review on iTunes and maybe gave us 5 stars, because we fucking deserve it for playing Bonk's Adventure for you motherfuckers. You can join us in the contracode.proboards.com, and we have lots of stuff going on there. It's growing again. It's growing daily. All kinds of different topics happening on there. Talking about nostalgia, old toys, old video games, new video games, pretty much anything, any topic people bring up. There's different threads going on. You can play along with games such as Bonk's Adventure, and
we would recommend against it. But yeah,
right. You don't have to subject yourself to that, but you could if you wanted to follow along.
We'd love to hear your opinion on it. We really would.
Exactly. So there's all kinds of that stuff going on there. Otherwise, you can also check us out on the Contra Code on Facebook. It's a page. Actually, we're running a not really so much a contest as it is a giveaway. If you go to the Contra Code page on Facebook, like it, like the photo and share the photo, you have an opportunity to win a retro video game for a console, basically PlayStation or Xbox, PlayStation 2, Xbox, or or earlier. We're going to be giving out a free video game, mailed right to your front door, just for entering the contest, if you are the selected winner. So there's all those different avenues to either contact us, reach us, find us, pass the word along, and tune in. And until next week, I say a fond farewell and goodbye.
See you later.